Kamala Harris, that she's dumb as a rock. That's not really going to attract female voters, is it?
Yeah, no, it won't. But I also think that just like he did in the first debate against Joe Biden, I think the formula here is to constantly tie Kamala Harris to the Biden administration, which is where Trump is winning against her on the economy, inflation, and all these other problems that we're having, and then sit back and let her talk. Let her explain herself, her past positions, current positions. How does she feel about how Biden has done on the economy? How does she feel about the border? Well, then turn it over and let her talk.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us tonight, Donna and Reince. We're all staying tuned. Can't wait.
And I have to say, as we are just less than 2 minutes away, this such an extraordinary moment, and especially, Rachel, when you consider that these two people that have been the center of our lives for the last 2 months have never met each other.
Have never even met each other. And Harris said, if you got something to say it to my face. The question tonight, does Donald Trump actually go there? He's questioned her racial identity. He's questioned her intelligence as well. Or does he stick to the issues?
Look, this is the largest audience they're likely going to have in this race. It will be interesting to see if Harris can make clear the stark choice before voters. And where does she decide to land her punches? She can punch hard. Can she do that while rising above the needling coming her way? But first and foremost, are we going to see a handshake when the two of them meet for the first time?
We didn't back in 2016 when I did that debate. We'll stand by to see that tonight. But the first time, side to side, together.
And I have my doubts that we're going to see that handshake, but what we are going to see is a spirited debate, and perhaps the most consequential general election debate we have ever seen, because almost certainly going to be the last one. So with the stakes so high, presidential debate just moments away, we have the entire news division keeping an eye on everything. We are going to be fact-checking on our live blog. It's all going to be happening right here. The debate now just 10 seconds away, and we will be back with our post-game show as soon as it's over. We are going to toss right now to David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Tonight, the high-stakes showdown here in Philadelphia between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. Their first face-to-face meeting in this presidential election, their first face-to-face meeting ever.
A historic race for president upended just weeks ago. President Biden withdrawing after his last debate. Donald Trump now up against a new opponent.
The candidates separated by the smallest of margins, essentially tied in the polls nationally and in the key battlegrounds, including right here in Pennsylvania, all still very much in play. The ABC News presidential debate starts right now.
This is an ABC News special. The most consequential moment of this campaign, Kamala Harris.
Together, we will chart a new way forward.
Donald Trump.
We will soon be a great nation again.
Face to face, historic. The ABC News presidential debate. Here now, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, I'm David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions, and this is the clock. Being 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-up clarifications or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for 2 candidates who have never met.
President Trump won the coin toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates.
Doing like an NFL game, man.
And President Donald Trump.
She chose the same side that All right, let's see. Are they gonna shake each other's hand?
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Funny.
Thank you.
Okay.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have
You
you.
look
It's
like
an
he
honor
wasn't
to
about
have
to
you
shake her
both here
hand at
tonight.
first.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid. And I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America.
When somebody started
I
saying was
believe
see.
in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing. And the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. I was actually, my mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before. Which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year, because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago.
French fries.
This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century.
Donald Trump created coronavirus, guys.
The worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
He left us a health
And
crisis.
what we have done is clean up Donald
we ain't
Trump's
gonna
mess.
talk about who did the gain
What
of
we
function
have
research,
done
though,
and what
right?
I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounced back, and it bounced back, and it went to their benefit.
So bad.
I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you.
What?
And when you
What
look
type
at
of
his
statement is that?
economic
Bro,
plan, it's
she
all
just
about
now
tax
put
breaks
her
for the richest
policies up
people.
online, so
I
Trump
am
couldn't say
offering
that during
what
the debate.
I describe
You
as
just
an
put it up
opportunity
yesterday.
economy, and the best
And half of
economists
them are
in our
his.
country, if not the world,
Yeah.
have reviewed
stole
our
his
relative
policy.
plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode
Boy,
the
she needs some
deficit.
water, bro.
16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in
What?
defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
Is she trying to talk to me?
That to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs
That's
and
a
create a
fact,
lot of
Max.
good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that it just goes
Run, spot, run.
Hey, I gotta make a meme.
Take a look at
I
her
gotta
plan.
make a
She
meme,
doesn't
bro.
have a plan.
Run, spot, run.
He said, run, spot, run. Get the hell out of boy. You know
Oh, he
what
he already got a
I'm
sound
Yeah.
bite.
Responded, and let's drill
Her
down on
mouth
this.
He got a
dry.
sound bite.
Your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports
Oh
across
my
the board.
God.
You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed
Wow.
on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars,
Oh,
hundreds
right?
of billions of dollars.
It's a lot.
I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else.
Wow.
The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll.
That's
the
true.
polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was
Tell
great.
me, are
that
we
their
worse
economy
off
was
4 years?
terrible.
4
Vice
years
President
ago,
Harris, I
are
do
y'all
want to
not
ask
worse
for your
off
response,
now?
and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he
Trade
ended
war
up
was
doing
good.
is under
It could've
Donald
been a
Trump's
real war.
presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the
Now I
details
know she ain't called somebody a sellout.
on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we
Why did y'all
win the
keep
race
the
on
tariffs?
AI, on quantum
If
computing.
it was so bad,
focusing on
why did
what
you
we
keep
need
the
to do
tariffs?
to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers'
Oh my gosh,
rights.
he's just talking
But what
about it.
Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi
Did he just hit the
for
mic?
what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
Bro,
President Trump, I'll
she's
let you
messing
First
up
of
her.
all, they bought their chips
her,
from
speech that
Taiwan.
she
We hardly make
memorized.
chips anymore because of
She
philosophies
never
like
answered
they
the
have
question.
and policies
She just
like they have.
kept
I don't
talking.
say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a
Bruh,
Marxist.
she even laughing
Everybody
at it.
knows
She's
she's a
even
Marxist.
laughing at his
Her
joke.
father's a
She's
Marxist
laughing at his
professor
joke.
in
That's how you know it's
economics,
funny.
and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill
Why
Roe v.
are we
Wade
talking
last
about
year.
that,
You
bro?
said
That
that
is
you
the
were
least
proud to be
important thing
the
right
most
now.
pro-life
People can't
president
eat.
in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights. In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban, because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust
We talking
you?
about
The
not
reason I'm
trusting
doing that
somebody
vote
for
is
changing
because
positions?
the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby.
Yes,
and that's
he did.
why I did
Yes, he
that,
did.
because
That's not
that
a lie.
predominates, because they're radical. The
saying no.
Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote.
Yeah,
But what I
that's
did
tough.
is something For 52 years, they've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions, very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the
what's
people
wrong with
now.
that?
It's not tied up in the
I
federal
thought y'all wanted
government.
democracy.
I did a great service in doing it. It
Isn't
took
that a good
courage
thing?
to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in
Everybody
doing
gets
it.
to vote
And
what
I
they
give
want.
tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice
He
President,
didn't say it
what your
was.
response to
Oh
President
my
Well,
God,
as I
bro!
said, very much a lie. That is not actually a
He never
surprising
said it
fact.
was.
Let's understand how we got here.
Oh, here she
Donald
go.
Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care.
No,
In
that's
one
why she
state,
didn't want to
it
do the
provides
Fox
prison
debate,
for life.
because she wanted to be in a
Trump
liberal
abortion bans
space.
that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to
what
their
the
body
moderator
next. That
did.
is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women
Should a woman be
want to
telling a
carry
woman what to do with her
pregnancy
body?
to term, suffering from a miscarriage,
What are
being
we doing?
denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot.
Every doctor
She didn't
quit
want
your
that.
job. You can't
Her
tell a
husband
girl
didn't
what to do
want
with her
that.
body.
A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a
Did he?
pregnancy to
Did you
term?
not hear him say
They don't want
that the
that.
exceptions
And
he
I
is
pledge
for
to you,
abortion? Did he
when
not hear him
Congress
say that?
passes a bill to put back in place the protections of
85%
Roe v.
of
Wade,
Republicans.
as President of the United
He
States, I
said
will
that, right?
proudly
Yeah, she
sign
heard
it
him. He was trying to pull it
into
on people's
law. But
heartstrings.
understand,
Oh my
if
God!
Donald
he
Trump
just
were to
literally
be
2 minutes
reelected,
ago said
he
that.
will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion monitor
Yeah,
that
you're
would
right,
be
Yuki.
monitoring your
Bro, why is
pregnancies,
I feel
your
like she's talking
miscarriages.
for a long
I think
time,
the
bro.
American people believe that certain
That's what happens
freedoms,
when you saying when
particularly
you
the
ain't
freedom
saying
to make
shit. You gonna
decisions
talk
about
for a
one's
long
own
time to
body,
try to prove you're nothing
should
point.
not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the
Well,
states,
that's the
and the
strategy.
states
The
are
strategy
voting.
is to try to
And
say
it may
he's
take a
Project
little time,
2025, the
but for
boogeyman that they made
52
up.
years,
They
this
made that up.
issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible.
That's right.
The
he did.
states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came
Well, I
to your
won't
desk?
have to because, again, two things.
Bro,
Number
what
one,
is
she
she
said
doing?
she'll go back
Is
to
she
Congress. She'll
serious?
never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe.
Tell them
student loans, and then
what happened to that.
I think probably
That's why they
her
wanted to vote
boss,
for Biden.
If you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto
He just said
it if
let
it did
him
come
get a
to
yes or
that.
no,
Well, I
but he
didn't
didn't do that
discuss
to
it with,
Kamala. Let's
JD,
see if
in
he
all
does that
fairness,
to Kamala today.
JD, and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this.
They already
approved.
did
So
win
it doesn't
people
matter
over,
what she says about going to Congress. So
2016,
wonderful. Let's go to
2020.
Congress. Do it. But the
But
fact
they
is that
literally
for
didn't
years
do
they
it.
wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government, and we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a
Everybody
vote
in
of the
chat,
people
let's see
on
if
abortion.
she does the same
Vice
thing to
President Harris, I
Kamala.
want to give you your time to
I want a
respond, but
yes
I
or
do
no
want to ask,
answer.
would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned,
Like Skittles.
nowhere in America
Skittles.
is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening.
That's
it's
a lie.
insulting
That's
to
a
the
lie.
women of America.
He
And
said there's not a
understand what has
woman
been
that
happening
is
under
9
Donald
months trying
Trump's
to get
abortion
aborted.
bans. Couples who pray and dream of
hell
having
no,
a
bro.
family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women who are working 1 or 2 jobs, who can barely
Why are they
afford
working 2 jobs?
childcare as
Why are they
it
working
is,
2 jobs and can't
have to
afford
travel to
childcare?
another state, to get on a plane sitting next to strangers, to go and get the health care she needs.
Okay.
Barely can afford to do it, and what you are putting her through
Then why is she pregnant?
is unconscionable.
What, bro?
And the
You're
people
saying
of
she can't
America
afford
have
nothing.
not, the
I mean, she's
majority of
doing something that
Americans
can make her
believe in
have
a woman's
another
right to make
mouthpiece.
decisions about her
What
own
are you
body.
talking about?
And that is why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in red and blue states both, the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris.
Excuse me, I
thank
have
He
to
has to
respond.
sit next to
Another lie.
strangers.
It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody
Yeah,
else
he
knows
has.
it.
That
I have
actually
been a
is
leader
true.
on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, they
They are
You should
not
ask.
against IVF.
will she
Conservatives
allow
are not against
abortion
IVF. They
in the
want
8th
children.
month, 9th month, 7th month?
Actually, who got
Okay,
who
would
has,
you do that? Why don't you ask her
Why-
that
why
question?
don't
Yeah,
you
ask her the question.
Because under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question.
Wait, wait,
you
her.
could-
You know her
could
mic
do
is supposed to be off,
abortions in the
guys.
7th
You know
month,
that, right?
the 8th month, the 9th
Yeah.
month,
Not true.
and probably after birth. Just look
Her
at the
mic is
governor,
supposed to be
former
off.
governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia
Bruh,
said we
they
put the
playing
baby
dirty.
aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security.
What
We know
the
it's an
hell
issue
was
that's
that?
important to Republicans, Democrats, voters
They
across the
literally
board
said
in
the
this
mics
country.
will be off.
Vice President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and
boy.
human beings. And let me say
I'm
that
just
the
saying.
United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of
Does
fentanyl
he,
coming
do,
into the
do they
United
know
States.
that
I know there are so many
he's the
families
one that
watching
told him to
tonight
come here?
who have been personally affected by
Biden
the
and her
surge
told
of
him to
fentanyl in our
come.
country.
They told him to come.
That
We
bill
welcome
would have
immigrants.
put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages
who's
in
the border czar?
solutions,
Who's the
who
border
actually
czar?
addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom.
I know they don't.
And I will tell you,
He's
the one
talking
thing you
about
will not hear him
herself.
talk about
Are you
is
kidding me?
You will not hear him talk about your needs,
There is
your
no way
dreams,
she's
and
trying
your,
to gaslight
and your
us that hard
desires.
right now.
And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did
No,
you
no,
try
no,
to
no, let
kill
him
that bill, and
respond.
successfully so? That would have put
Ignore
thousands of
the
additional
question,
agents
bro.
and officers on the
Just
border.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there.
Ooh.
And then showing them in a different light.
That's
So
true.
she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics.
That is
That's
true.
because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's
see,
going on
bro,
here,
he
you're
is
going to end up
losing
in
this
World
debate.
War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country,
He
and
definitely
look
losing.
at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
They are.
eating.
Yeah.
They're eating.
They
The
just had later. I
of
just
the
got some off
people that
Instagram.
live
Later ate a
there.
cat. I
And
damn
this is
sure
what's
got that.
happening in our country, and it's
That's
a
crazy.
shame.
He said
As
that.
far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase: "Make America great again."
Yeah.
She's
Simple and
destroying
effective.
this country. And if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
Damn.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant
they're
community.
fact-checking.
Let me just say
They're
here, this is the
fact-checking
people on
Donald, but they're
television
not
say my dog was
fact-checking
taken and
Kamala. But they
used for
have been
food. So
reports of
maybe
the
he
dogs
said that, and
gone
maybe that's a
missing.
good
Yeah.
thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
But the
television.
people are
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's
So,
no evidence
so
of that.
forget
Vice
the
President
regular,
Harris, I'll let you
forget
respond
what
to the rest
regular
of it.
people are saying. Let's talk to the city
Talk
manager.
about extreme. This is,
What?
I think, one of the reasons
They
why
told her
in
not to
this
do that live.
election,
They
I
told her not
actually
to.
have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked
Rhinos.
with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain,
She just said
including
3
the endorsement
rhinos.
of former Vice President Dick Cheney and
The
Congressmember
dude that
Liz
pew
Cheney.
pewed his person in
And
the face
if
in the
you want to
woods.
really know the inside track
Not the
on
bird,
who
not the
the former
bird shot
president
quail,
is, if
man.
he didn't make it clear
But
already,
are you
just ask
kidding
people
me?
who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States.
What?
His former national
Is he-
security
I
advisor
got
has said he is
George
dangerous
Bush.
and
That's
unfit.
not a good endorsement.
His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another
I got
Trump
the dude that sent us to
term.
war in Afghanistan.
And when we listen
perpetually.
to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond here.
Thank you. Because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who's were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper, he was no good, I fired him, so he writes a book. Another one writes a book, because with me, they can write books. With nobody else can they? But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier. So let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say things get out of control. You'd have no problem using the U.S. military. You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in. And all over the world, crime is down. All over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But
excuse me, the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud. Just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I think this is so rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for
Are you serious?
national security crimes,
Are you
economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault. And his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing.
Wow.
And let's be
Is he
clear
serious?
where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts.
Oh my God.
So let's talk about what is
They
important
do
in
understand
this race.
that
It is
helps him, right?
important that we
Understand that he
move
has
forward,
felonies.
that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people. Address
What's
what
the
we
same
need
old
to do
tired rhetoric?
about the
'Cause we ain't
housing
never had to
shortage,
pay
which I
$8
have
for a
a
bag
plan
of
for.
fries.
Address what we must do to
I'm just
support our
saying.
small businesses. Address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this
I'm
same
not.
old tired playbook.
That man was in a
Vice
whole
President Harris,
press-ass
thank you.
Adidas
Excuse me.
tracksuit, stealing the
Every one of
apartment
those
from
cases
everybody. Are you
was
kidding me?
started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases. And then they say, oh, he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case.
And they said he was too
what happened in
old.
my documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out.
They said Biden didn't know what he was doing because he was
and
old.
they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the
how many times
context
you
in
gonna
which
say,
this
"Let's
election
talk
in
about"?
2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States.
No, he
That
didn't.
he would weaponize
No,
the
he didn't.
Department of Justice against
Oh
his
my God.
political
Kamala Harris
enemies.
lies so much. It's
Someone who
crazy.
has openly expressed
lies.
disdain for members of our military. Understand
He's got disdain
what it would
for
mean if Donald
military
Trump
now,
were back
too?
in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
Vice President
stop
Harris,
him.
thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for
let
president.
him say what he want to say.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a
President
fake
Trump.
Russia investigation
We do have a lot to
that
get.
went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last
They're
run
like,
for
"We don't want you
president,
to
said
talk,
you wanted
Trump."
to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You
Flip-flopping.
supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions
She ain't
changed?
gonna answer the
So
question.
my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every one of the, at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking.
Oh my God.
I have not banned
She
fracking
asked
as
you
Vice
about
President of the
3
United
different
States. And in
issues.
fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in
answer
domestic
the
oil production in
question, bro.
history because of an
Why
approach
did
that
you
recognizes
switch your
that we
stance?
cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class
Oh
kid
my God, I
raised by a
can't believe this.
hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the
What's that
importance
got to
of
do with
homeownership,
fracking?
knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed
What, we're
bankruptcy
talking
with
about
sign
fracking. What are we
is a value
doing?
that I bring
Explain
to
the
my work.
fracking to
Who
the
say
people.
we are going to
Is this
work with the
classism
private
or are we
sector and
talking? Is
home
this a
builders to
classism
increase
Hey,
argument? Or
Tony.
3 million homes, increase by
Yeah.
3 million homes by the end of my
Explain
first
fracking to the people.
my work
Is
that
this
is
a
related
way? It's
to
another. It's a way of
having a friend
another
when I
source
was
of
in high
energy.
school who was sexually assaulted by her
It's a way of
stepfather.
what?
And my
A
focus
source of
then
energy.
on
It's
protecting
another
women
Oh,
and
yeah,
children
yeah.
from
But
violent
they don't.
crime
They
is
say
based
it's
on a
bad
value
for
that is deeply grounded in the
a green
importance
initiative.
of standing
I
up for
got
those who
you.
are most vulnerable. My work that is about
In
protecting Social
Pennsylvania, they
Security
do
and
a lot of
Medicare
fracking.
is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
What about
President
the
Trump,
fracking?
you're
First of all, I
Oh
wasn't
my
given
God, this is
$400
annoying.
million. I wish I was. I was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him.
Bro,
I was given
how
a
do you
fraction
watch
of that,
this?
a tiny
How?
fraction,
I don't
and I built it
understand.
into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever.
Yes, he was.
She
Yeah, you
gave
were.
all
No,
that
you
stuff
literally
up
were.
very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police.
I can't
In
believe it, bro.
Minnesota,
She did
she
not
went
answer
out. Wait a
nothing,
minute,
bro.
I'm talking now.
Ah,
don't mind,
I'm
please.
talking.
Does that sound familiar?
That hey, look, that right there is how the other countries gonna be trying to try her.
He got
She
him.
went
I'm
out
talking.
in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left
It's a side circuit.
liberal that would do this.
got her
She
ass
wants to
with the I'm
confiscate your
talking,
guns,
bro.
and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election,
She can't do I'm
fracking in
talking now. She
Pennsylvania
wanted to
will
do I'm
end on
talking.
day one. Just to finish one thing so important in my opinion. So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. They took, when they
he
took
8 Mile her
over,
ass, bro.
they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the
He hit it with
prices
8
were
Mile,
going
bro.
up the roof. They immediately
Damn.
let these guys go to where they were. I would have been
Hey, I gotta
times,
do an
4
I gotta
times,
do an 8
5
Mile
times
meme, bro.
higher because you're talking about
I'm
3.5 years ago. They got it up
Still up here
to where
lying.
I was
Bro,
because they had
Kamala,
to do this
he
because the
hit
prices of
Kamala with the
energy
I'm talking,
were
bro.
quadrupling and doubling. You saw
She's
what happened to
lying.
gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead. Fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to
She is so
solar,
mad that
where they
she
need a
didn't
whole
get mad
desert to
until he
get
said,
some
"I'm talking."
energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant?
He's
By the
so
way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400,
President Trump.
500 acres of desert
President
soil.
Trump, we have a
These
lot
are
of
not good
issues
things
that we
for the
have to get
environment,
to.
as
We're
she
out of time.
understands.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56
Oh, they be
days.
cutting him
And
short,
I
but
wanna
let
talk
her
about
go
the
on
peaceful
forever.
transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our
And
That's
she
democracy
crazy.
and the
sounds
role
like
of a
she talks
president
forever because
in
she's
a
not
moment of
saying
crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be
No,
right
he
there
didn't.
with them.
No, he didn't.
The country and the
He
world
literally
saw what
did it.
played
He
out at the
said,
Capitol
"Go
that day.
home."
The officers
Why are
coming
you
under
lying,
attack.
ABC? Why are you
Aides in
doing
the
this?
West Wing say you watched it unfold on
He
television.
told
off the
them to
Oval
go
Office.
home.
You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully
He did it during the
and
speech, literally. I
patriotically.
saw it.
And
I actually
nobody
saw
on the
that.
other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing
What about
people
Antifa?
that she allowed to pour in? She
What
was
about
the border
the?
czar.
Don't
Remember
forget
that.
about the
She
zone.
was the border czar.
Remember when
She
they
doesn't
took
want to
over
be
a
called
whole
the border
city
czar
block
because she's
and didn't let the
embarrassed by
cops
the
come
border.
in?
In fact, she said
What
at the
about that?
beginning, "Oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet." That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world. And crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when
ask
are those, David?
No,
when
no,
are those
no,
people
no,
going to
no.
be
Y'all haven't-
prosecuted?
y'all
when
haven't
are the
pressed
people that
Kamala
burned
yet.
down
This is
Minneapolis
annoying,
going to
bro.
be prosecuted? Or in Seattle, they went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about
Trump,
what you did
talk
on
about
that day?
talk about Kamala.
Yes, sir.
I had nothing to do with that other than
They
they asked me
won't
to
do
make a
that.
speech.
They won't
I
do
showed
that.
up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not
This
about
dude,
former Speaker
he
Pelosi. But I do
doubled
want Vice
down
President
3
Harris to
times, bro.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th.
I was scared.
I was
the
scared
for my
vice
life.
president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day,
thought I was going to pass
the
away.
president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital.
What's this guy doing for
to desecrate
4 years ago?
our
What's that guy
nation's
doing
capital?
right now,
on that
bro?
day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured.
Why?
And some
why
died.
Is this in the debate?
And understand, the
For president.
former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason.
Oh my God!
But this is not an isolated situation.
Was Bill Clinton
Let's
impeached?
remember
Why y'all have him talk
Charlottesville,
at the DNC since impeachment
where
so bad?
there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches,
He
spewing
sure did.
anti-Semitic
He definitely
hate.
did.
And what did the
Anti-Semitic
president then
hate.
at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
Oh,
Let's
she brought
remember
back that lie too.
that when
That's
it
been
came to the
debunked
Proud
like
Boys,
50
a
times
militia.
now, bro.
The president said, the former president
Oh,
said,
she's bringing
stand
up
back
Proud
and
Boys, but
stand
not
by.
Antifa.
So for everyone watching who remembers what
he
January
was not
6th
impeached in the Senate.
was,
That's right. So he was not impeached.
I say we don't have to go back.
Bill Clinton was
Let's
impeached.
not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page.
Bro,
And
she
if that
brought
was a bridge too
old,
far for you, well, there is
good
a place
people on both sides.
in
We
our
gonna bring up,
campaign
grab them
for
by the
you
P next
to
too?
stand
What are we doing?
for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos.
This crazy.
And to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not
What's
go
Trump
back.
gonna do? He gonna ride
Let's
a dragon?
chart a
He gonna ride
course
on a dragon
for the
to the
future
Capitol? What
and
we
not
talking
go
about, bro?
backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term
What's going
that
on, Ed?
related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was.
He was
Also,
talking. Bloodbath is a financial
that story has
term.
been, as you would
Talking
say,
about
debunked.
we will be
Laura
in the
Ingraham,
red.
Sean
He
Hannity,
knows that.
Jesse, all of these
That is a
people,
literal
they covered it. If
financial
they go
term.
an extra sentence, they
When
will
the
see
stock
it was
market goes
perfect.
down, we
it
say
was
it's a bloodbath.
debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this: you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The president of the United States, you'll get him out of bed. You'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say
sarcastically. You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite make it.
Bro.
And we should just point out here,
Not
clarification, and you know this,
they
you and your allies, 60 cases
corrected
in front of many
Kamala
judges,
yet.
many of them
No
Republican,
judge looked at it.
and said
They
there was
said
no
we didn't have
widespread fraud.
standing.
You didn't say
That's the other
Kamala
thing.
that was
They said we
on
didn't
both
have
sides was
standing, a
debunked
technicality. Can you
over and
imagine
over
a
again.
system
Kamala,
where
we gotta
a
stop
person
saying that.
in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show
Fulton
you
County.
Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics.
Yeah,
but you know
well, they
what?
both
that
had
doesn't
he's
matter
debating
because
three
we have
people.
to solve the
So they
problem
both
that we have
put
right
out
now.
order.
That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a
1v3.
nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you.
Yo,
Vice
Trump
President
is
Harris,
debating
you heard the
people, bro.
president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by whisker. So he still believes he did not lose the election. That was won
this a
by
question?
President Biden.
Is that a question,
and yourself.
dude?
But I do want to ask you about something
that a
that's come up in
question?
the last couple of days. This was
Yeah,
a
they
post from
pissing me off,
President
too.
Trump
God
about
damn, let the
this
shit
upcoming
be
election
fair.
just weeks away.
Bro,
he said,
what
when
the
I
hell,
win,
bro?
those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate
No,
us.
do they think we
won't let
can't
him
recognize what's
suppress the
going
vote."
on? Do they really?
Is that
think
what you
that's what's
believe he's
going
trying
on?
to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
My gosh.
But we
Bro,
cannot
why is this
afford
the
to have a
longest thing they
president of
talked
the
about?
United States
We didn't talk about the economy this long. We're talking
attempts,
about the
as he did
election
in the
in 2020.
to upend
I've
the
never
will
seen
of
this
the
in any
voters in a
debate in
free
my
and
life.
fair election. And I'm going to tell you that
What is her policy,
I have
bro?
traveled the
What
world
is
as Vice
Kamala's
President of the
policy?
United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have
It's
talked with
it's
military
called
leaders, some of
I've
whom work
never-
with you,
called a
and they
diversion.
say you're a disgrace.
It's called a diversion, sir.
And when you then talk in this way
Are we going?
in a
We've been
presidential
talking about
debate
damn
and
things
deny
and the election.
what over and over
For
again
the
are
last
court cases you have
15 minutes.
lost because you did in fact lose that
What are we
election.
doing?
It leads one to believe that perhaps we
Okay,
do
bro.
not have in the candidate to my right the
Oh, my
temperament
God, bro.
or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
This is a one.
give you 1 minute to respond, Mr.
versus
President.
three.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country,
Thank you.
he
Talk
ended
about
that.
it.
But he let the Russians build
And
a
that's what
pipeline
started
going
the
all
war.
over
That
Europe
started
and
the
heading
war.
into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the
And
world.
it was
Look,
raising the price of
Viktor
energy
Orban
in the UK.
said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got
I'm mad
zero
he's
votes.
debating three
And when
people
she
right now,
ran,
bro.
she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm
President,
okay with it
Bro,
because
CNN
your
did a
time
I
is
better
up.
think
job
we're going to
than
do very
NBC.
well.
We've got a lot more to get.
CNN
Turning
did
now
better
to
than
the
them.
Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among
Bro,
them.
they talked
Vice
about
President
something that
Harris,
people
in
don't care about. Do
December,
you
you
care
said,
about
quote, Israel
January
has a
6th
right
and
to
if
defend
Trump
itself, but you
barely
added, quote,
think
it
he won
matters
or lost
how.
the damn
Saying
election?
international
What the
humanitarian
hell is
law
that?
must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis, many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so, absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many
Don't answer nothing, bro. This
innocent Palestinians have been
frustrating,
killed.
bro.
Children, mothers.
This ain't even
What we
funny,
know
bro. Like,
is that this war must end.
has
It
he
must
said
end
anything this whole damn
immediately.
debate? I just
And
want
the
to know.
way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and an equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you
They did.
I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that
But
Iran
you're
and
for
its
Palestine.
proxies
But you're
pose to
for
Israel.
Palestine. How's
But
that
we
work?
must have a
You gotta choose a
two-state
side.
solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that.
You don't want to say that.
He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when
Did
Russia went into
Russia
Ukraine,
go into
it was
Ukraine when Trump was in
brilliant.
office or when she was
It
in
is
office?
well known he exchanged love letters
Why
with
the
Kim
moderators ain't saying
Jong-un,
that?
and it is absolutely
Did
well
they go
known
into
that these
Ukraine when Trump was
dictators
in
and
office?
autocrats
If he
are
said he
rooting
could do whatever he
for
wants,
you to be
why did he
president
wait for
again
him to
because they're
leave?
so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors.
And that's another good
And
question.
that
He
is
got to
why
sign a peace treaty while he was in
so
office.
many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is
Ooh,
why
name some
we
names.
understand that
Name
we
names,
have to
Kamala.
have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
And she's the one that caused it. That's weak on
They
national
can't figure
security
out
by
what's going on
allowing
with her
every
neck.
nation last month
She's
for the
she's
year,
just cracking, bro. She's just
168
cracking,
different
bro.
countries sending people into our country. Their crime
She's
rates are
cracking.
way down.
She ain't black.
Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're
You
grossly
remember when
incompetent.
Biden
And I just asked
Kamala
one
Harris went
question.
China flight
Why
in
does
that
Biden go in and
balloon
kill the
over America
Keystone
for about
Pipeline
5
and
days?
approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get
He
to.
gets paid a
We'll
lot
be
of
right
money
back
for
with much more
Ukraine.
of this
They
historic
didn't let
ABC
him
News
say it.
presidential debate from the National Constitution
Charisma.
Center right
Say
here
it.
in Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
This is some boy. No, they gotta be playing with me.
The ABC News presidential debate will continue
Yeah,
after
they
this.
fucking over Trump right now, man. Them boy, he going to get 3 people, man.
And he's still winning debate.
They still winning.
It was
They
a
still
regular day
winning.
for
We'll
She
put it
ain't
back
said
on. We'll put
nothing.
it back up when it comes on.
She ain't said a damn thing. I'm like,
He ain't
man, what
talking
are you
about
talking about,
nothing, bro.
lady? Not nothing. What's your policies? You ain't
They
said
want
about how you
that-
gonna get these folks
No,
out
they
the
spent
country.
like
You ain't said
20
nothing.
minutes talking about does he accept the last election? Well, do Americans care about that, bro?
Hell no.
Real
People
talk.
crazy.
With everything going on right now, do we care?
I don't care about
if he was happy about the election results.
Listen, we don't care about what's going on overseas. We don't care about none of that shit. Listen, what you gonna do over here? Damn what they got going on. And you know what I'm saying? You don't like, she don't like Israel. Well, you done made them folks rich. If Trump, he had them broke.
Iran didn't have that.
Yeah, I know. Y'all done made them folks. Y'all did it. One of them damn folks protesting damn Kamala Harris damn president
You know
thing.
why I think they're helping her? Because they weren't doing this in the beginning of the debate. You know why towards the middle of this debate, I think they started helping because they see how bad she was doing. They're like, Trump said, what was that? When he said Trump told you that he didn't accept the election. So, and then he didn't, was that a question? What are you doing? You're trying to, that's called leading the people's opinion. You're trying to lead them to where you want them to go. Everybody's not dumb. We see it. Yeah, it's an intermission right now. They playing ads.
Yeah,
right
them
now.
folks them folks don't respect no Kamala Harris. Them folks don't even respect women in their own damn country. How the hell they gonna respect you? Yeah. You say it sound dumb.
There is no way. There is no way.
People's dumb in here over here. Like, bro, y'all is not looking at. Y'all gonna have our ass getting missiles dropped on our ass. Y'all get the woman.
Why did we spend 20 minutes on the 2020 election? What are we doing?
No,
they just found a way to. They found a way to waste time so Kamala didn't have to talk about certain issues. That's what they just did. They just found a way to let her, because all that time when she was talking didn't mean anything. All that was platitudes. Oh, he didn't accept the election. I was there at the Capitol. Oh, he said he just accepted the results. What does that have to do with what's going on with us right now? Anyway, in any way, shape, or form, how does that help that single mom struggling to get a freaking car She can't get that used car because used cars at an astronomical price right now. She over there pushing a stroller in the rain trying to get on the bus. Trying to get to work and drop the kid off to school. And you talking about a 2020 election. You gonna sit here and tell me that y'all are more worried about what happened in Jan 6 than a $6 freaking half? Like, do you remember when a foot long was $5, bro? You could get that one half for $6. You get half for $6 now. People can't even get fast food. McDonald's damn near losing all their money because they can't afford McDonald's no more. The dollar menu disappeared when Joe Biden got in office. What are we talking about? The value menu ain't no value menu. Can't even afford fast food, but we talking about the 2020 election. The hell are we doing? Millennials can't even buy a house. I don't even want to talk about what's about to happen with Gen Z.
Now
we in our mid to late 30s, can't get a house.
Yeah, this shit fucked
that
up.
part.
Can't get a house if you wanted to, bro.
Yeah, nah,
my wife is a real estate agent. We got two married couples thinking they could come together. They hit her up. We are so excited to buy a house. They want to start their life. They come to find out they can't afford it. You damn near need 20 to 50,000. That's just in Georgia. I don't even want to tell you what's going on in other places. You need 100,000. You need about $50,000 down. Who got it?
Yeah,
I got it.
Debate tonight. We're going to continue here, and I want to turn to the war in Ukraine. We're now 2.5 years into this conflict. Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy.
If I'm friendly them damn folks
to do so,
that's
arguing
the
that if
American
Putin
problem.
wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to
Good
save
answer.
lives that
Good
are being
answer.
uselessly, people
Thank
being
you.
killed by the millions. It's the millions.
Who
It's
do you
so
want
much
to win
worse
the war?
than the numbers that
What
you're
kind of
getting with
dumb
your
question
fake
is that?
numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to
Bro, you know his
275
jokes are
billion.
funny. It
They're
make
into
Kamala laugh,
100
bro.
to
She need to stop laughing at his
150.
joke.
They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war
Yo,
settled.
they should have
I know
told her not
Zelensky
to
very
laugh
well,
at
and I
Trump
know
jokes,
Putin
bro.
very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left. I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's. Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
They
here,
threw him out of a campaign like a
Where's
dog. We don't
Waldo?
even know. Is he our president? But we have a president
Mr.
that
President,
doesn't know he's alive.
I'm putting Biden
your
head on
time is up.
Waldo. I'm putting Biden's
Just to
head on
clarify on the
Waldo.
question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war? Yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to
Thank
stop
you.
all of these human
Stop the
lives
war.
from being
Stop the
destroyed.
war.
Don't matter who the
This is
fuck
Vice President
win.
Harris,
We
I want to
don't
get your
care
thoughts
who win.
on support for Ukraine.
Why
in
are
this
not?
moment,
Why are they not
but also,
asking the same
as
question
Commander in
to them?
Chief,
I don't
if
understand
elected,
this.
how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it
That
be
don't
any
make
different from
sense.
what we're seeing from President Biden?
How can we compare the
Well,
answers
first
if
of
they're
all,
not asking
it's
them the same
important to
questions?
remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me.
You are Joe
I
Biden.
believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans.
Huh?
Let's understand what happened here.
What the hell is
I
he talking
actually
about?
met
He
with
wants more
Zelensky
war, bro.
a
She
few
just
days
told you.
before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important
He just
international
told
rules
y'all
and
straight
norms,
up.
which
This
is the
her first
importance
time
of
she told the
sovereignty
truth.
and
We
territorial
gonna keep this
integrity.
war going.
And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50
Yeah,
countries
you gotta
together
keep
to
Lockheed
support
Martin happy,
Ukraine
guys.
in its righteous
You gotta
defense.
keep Lockheed Martin happy.
And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent
calls
and free
ending
country.
a war
if Donald
giving
Trump
up.
were president,
Oh
Putin would
my
be sitting in
God.
Kyiv right now. And understand
Oh
what
my
that would
God.
mean, because Putin's agenda
I'm tweeting
is
that.
not just
I'm tweeting
about
that.
Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO,
You're a war hawk.
and what we have done
Oh, you're a
to
war hawk.
preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of
Give up.
favor
Oh
and
my
what you think is a
God.
friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight.
Wow.
Afghanistan came up in the last hour. I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier. And now,
What?
please, I'll
What
give you a
kind
minute
of
here.
what kind of moderation? is
Putin
this,
would
bro?
be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in Moscow, much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that.
You would give
Something
up.
we don't even like to talk about.
You would end
Nobody
the
likes
war.
to talk about
You're
it.
a quitter,
But
Trump.
just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later,
Yo,
he went
see-
in
see
and he
what keeping
started
us
the
in
war
like Vietnam.
because
They didn't wanna
everything
give
they
up in
said was
Vietnam.
weak
Remember that.
and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate
Yeah,
with
he do make me laugh.
Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. Did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met
For
Vladimir
real?
Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fella. And that is another one.
Oh my God.
When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing
met
as
with him
America
5 times.
always should, as a leader upholding
We can't
international
stop a war. We
rules
can't. We
and
ain't
norms.
quitters.
As
Oh
a
man, I
leader
love
who
that
shows
slogan, Kamala.
strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world
We don't
are
end wars.
dependent
We're not quitters.
on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of
Helena, you
caring
said
about
that we don't give up here in
democracy.
America.
And that is very much
Yeah,
what
we
is
aren't
at
quitters
stake
here in America,
The
Kamala.
President of the United States is commander in chief, and the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility
No way.
in terms of ensuring that there is stability.
Man, that's
and
the fucking problem. They always worry about every fucking body else.
She's just
for
talking,
the
bro.
benefit of personal flattery.
Is he about
You
to
talked
cry?
about
What are we
Ukraine
doing?
and Vladimir Putin. I do
That-
want to
was
talk about
that fake
Afghanistan. It
passion
came
or
up
something?
in the first
missed
hour
it.
of this debate. I wanted to move on to Afghanistan.
And he responds.
Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years,
It's
we
true.
were paying almost
That's why he
all
keep on
of
talking
NATO.
about it, because
We were
it
being
really
ripped
did
off
happen.
by
We
European
were paying
nations,
everything.
both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
President
Otherwise,
Trump.
we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President.
Yeah, y'all want. That's all
do you
y'all want to
believe
do is
you
have
bear
to
any
honor soldiers, because you
responsibility
don't
in
give
the way
up.
that withdrawal
You're not
played
going to
out?
give up on the war.
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated.
He
one
can't
of the
say
weakest
anything about
deals you can
anything
imagine.
without
He
Donald
calls
Trump.
himself
Without
a deal
Donald
maker.
Trump. You
Even his
understand that, right?
national security advisor said
Gobbledygook.
it was a weak,
Come on,
terrible
Kamala,
deal.
with the
And here's how
gobbledygook.
it went down. He bypassed the Afghan
This
government.
whole
He
time she has
negotiated
talked
directly
is
with a
gobbledygook.
terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000
Wait, was the question
terrorists,
about what she
Taliban
would do,
terrorists
right?
released.
Was the
And get
question
this,
about
no, get
what
this.
she would do?
And
Yeah.
Did I miss
the
the
president
question?
at the time invited the Taliban
What
to
would
Camp
you do,
David,
Kamala?
a place of storied significance
Oh,
for
my
us
God.
as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we
Oh,
invite
my
and
God.
receive
I can't believe it.
respected world leaders. And this
Yep, left the Taliban
Former
there.
president,
Matter of fact, left
as
Taliban
president,
hundreds of millions of
invited
dollars
them
in weapons.
to Camp David
I think
because
she
he
don't
does
know what she's
not
talking about,
again
does she?
appreciate the role
No, that's
and
obvious.
responsibility of the president of the United
Gobbledygook.
States
All right.
to be commander in chief with a level of
Oompa,
respect.
loompa,
And this gets back to the
loopity,
point of
zoom.
how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold
Trump
the
smiling.
strength
Oh,
and the respect
my
of the
God.
United
Why
States
is he
of America
talking? What happened
around
in
the
2
world.
minutes?
Vice President
What
Harris,
happened in
thank
2
you.
minutes?
President Trump, your response to her
I
saying that
told
you
you.
began the negotiations with
thank
the
you.
Taliban.
So
Yeah, facts. We're
if you
fighting
take
a
a
war
look
that
at
we
that
shouldn't
period
be
of
in.
time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother
Jeff,
doing
he
that
was just
because,
always
you know,
like
they
that.
deal with the wrong people all the time.
Trump is just
But I
natural,
got
bro. He's a
involved.
natural.
And
Some people just have comedic
Abdul
timing.
is the head
He
of
said,
the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And
yeah,
I
that
told
word
Abdul,
salad is
don't do
on,
it anymore. You
bro.
do it anymore, you're going to have problems.
Kamala could
And he
feed
said,
the
why do you
world
send me a
with that
picture of
world
my
salad.
house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for
Yeah,
18 months,
Trump,
we had
yeah, Trump
nobody
just said
killed.
he did.
We did have an agreement
Yeah.
negotiated
Trump
by
told me
Mike
he sent the
Pompeo.
picture of the leader
It
of
was
the
a very good
Taliban
agreement.
house. Like,
The
I'm
reason
telling you,
it
I'm
was
going to blow
good,
that bitch
it was
up. You do one more damn thing, I'm going to blow that bitch up. That's basically what he's saying.
we wouldn't have left many
Yeah.
Americans behind, and we wouldn't
Kamala
have left,
Harris hasn't
we
answered
wouldn't have
one
left
question yet, though. And then she said, but
$85
Donald
billion
Trump did
worth
this.
of brand new, beautiful military
Every
equipment behind.
time.
And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to
Oh,
do this,
man.
this, and they didn't do it.
She won't
They
answer
didn't
the
do
question.
it.
That's-
The agreement
this is aggravating.
was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move
And
on.
these people
I
did
want
the
to move on.
worst
I want to move
withdrawal.
on. I want to
And
move on.
in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the
Yeah,
history
you
of our
have to
country.
figure it out,
And by the
Abdul.
way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now.
You're
to
right.
race and
You're right. They
politics
about to
in this
leave. They're
country.
gonna leave this
Mr.
place.
President, you
They'll leave
recently
us
said of
behind.
Vice President Harris, quote,
Who that?
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago.
Oh, now
but she
what
happened to
this
turn
got to
black,
do?
and now she wants to be known as black.
What's okay?
I want to ask a bigger picture
Wow.
question here tonight.
You understand?
Why do you
that
believe
they
it's
said not
appropriate
to
to
bring
weigh
this
in
up?
on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those are your words. So I'm
I
asking.
don't know. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
He gets to
Vice President
choose.
Harris, your thoughts on this?
I choose what I want to be.
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have
They thought they could
someone
trip him
who
up. They could never trip
wants
him
to
up.
be
That's
president
funny.
who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people.
No, the question was,
You know, I
Kamala,
do
what
believe
do
that the
you
vast
think about
majority
your
of us
race?
know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach
Then
that is
why
just
announce
constantly
that you're a
trying to
black
divide
woman?
us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was a land. He owned land. He owned
He was
buildings.
a land.
And
Oh,
he-
bring up
he
her
lived
granddaddy. Bring up her
because
granddaddy.
he refused to rent
Donald Trump
property
was a
to
land.
black families.
Oh,
Let's remember,
my
this is the
God.
same
This is-
individual
He's bringing back
who
this
took out a
also
full-page
debunked-
ad in the New York Times
debunked.
calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were
And
innocent,
he
the
did
Central
that,
Park
and
5.
everybody thought that they were guilty. So
Took
don't
out a
act,
full
don't
page
act
ad
foolish.
calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first Black president of the United States.
Oh my God, Obama!
And I think the American
Obama.
people
Okay, so Obama
want
is a black
better
president
than
now.
that.
All right, here we
Want
go.
better than this.
Okay.
Want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We
Man, you
see
don't do
in
a
each
damn
other
thing, lady.
a friend.
No,
We
remember, she
see
said
in
she's
each
been
other
to the
a
border. She's
neighbor.
been to the border.
We don't want a leader who
That's
is
why she letting them all in
constantly
here.
trying to have Americans
the
point
border,
their
remember?
fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me,
I tell you what.
can we please just have discourse about
What's your grandpa was
how
doing,
we're
girl?
going to invest in the
What's your grandpa do?
aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people?
You gonna tell everybody?
Knowing that regardless of people's
I don't
color
see
or
Trump.
the
If I
language
Trump,
their
I bring it
grandmother
up. Here, your
speaks, we
granddad
all
on
have
slaves,
the
didn't
same dreams and aspirations,
Aren't
and
you
I
a
want a
bring that
citizen?
shit
president
right up.
who invests in those, not in hate and division.
What?
Vice President
That
Harris,
wasn't the
thank you.
question,
Lindsay?
bro. What are
President
you
Trump, this is
doing?
now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty, then they pled, we're not guilty.
Yeah, we always
But
want to
this is a
change the
person
times. Everybody
that has to
thought they were
stretch back
guilty at the time.
years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad
The same
that you
argument.
can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up, Lindsay.
You talking about the same old argument?
Briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump.
Did he call him Joe
And
Biden?
what I
Did
do
he call her Joe
offer is a
Biden?
new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we
Joy.
can do instead of
Yeah.
always
How about
disparaging
joy?
the American people. I believe in what we can do
You mean the
to
basket of
to
deplorables?
strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan.
What is it?
To give startup
all you have to say,
businesses
what is it?
$50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of
To
your
do
child's
what?
development. I have a plan
Do you?
that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream
What is the
by offering
plan?
a help with down payment of
How are you going
$25,000
to do
down
it?
payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
Her plan
That's
is
the
to say
kind
she
of
has a
conversation
plan
I
over
believe,
and over
David,
and over.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we
yeah.
should
That's what I
have
was to say.
tonight,
She
as
just
opposed to a
talking.
conversation that is
No, she gonna say
constantly
she got a
about
plan
This is
over and over,
crazy,
so
bro.
everybody be
This
like,
is
you got a
name
plan.
calling. Let's turn the page
Vice
Oh
President
my
and move
God.
Harris,
I
forward.
can't
thank you. Let's
believe
turn to
it.
policy.
President
Let's turn
Trump,
back
we
to
have to
policy.
move on. President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She has
please.
a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
She
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need to
Lindsay, go ahead.
respond
President
because
Trump,
no, the
President
former
Trump.
president has
No,
said
I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to
No,
respond to.
I'm sorry. We're
I
gonna
just
we're
need to
gonna move on,
respond.
Vice
One
President.
Where her
time,
mic
what he
on?
said
President Trump, this
multiple
is
times.
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not
I
very
had her
good today.
plan literally was
And
I
what
have
I
a
said
plan
that if we come up with something
to
and we
give
are
money,
working
to
on
give
things,
money,
we're
and to
going to
give
do it, and
money.
we're going to
All three
replace
of those
it.
things
But
are about giving
remember
money.
this, I
How we
inherited
gonna pay for it,
Obamacare
Kamala?
because Democrats wouldn't
Who gonna pay
change it.
for
They
it?
wouldn't vote for it.
Am I
They were
am I
unanimous.
now
They
giving
wouldn't
people
vote
money
to change
buy
it.
their houses?
If they would have
Kamala?
done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that
My
administration.
plan is to
We
have
read
a
about
plan.
the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have
Oh,
really
my
bad ones.
God.
The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to
My
that,
plan
Lindsay. I
is
just
about
need to
to have a
respond to a
plan.
previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the
See, you ain't
continuous
no
lying
damn
about this
gun
stuff.
owner, bro.
As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand.
Oh wait,
When
Kamala
Donald Trump
Harris
was
is for
president,
guns now.
60 times
Yeah,
he
now.
tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I
So
was a
when
senator
that's
at the time.
hey, I
When
there.
I will
Was
never
that
forget
that
the early
and
morning
what happened in
hours
Georgia? Didn't she make
when
a statement
it was
about
up
we
for
need
a
to do
vote in the
something about
United
these
States
guns?
Senate. And the late, great John McCain,
I mean, I could have sworn
who
that's
you
what she
have
said. Let me
disparaged
see if I can find that comment.
as being, you don't like him, you
I
said
got a
at the
gun,
time because
she
he got
says.
caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked
You're
onto
never
the
gonna
Senate
forget that
floor
night,
and
huh?
said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate
He said
the
he wouldn't
ability
get rid
of
of it
insurance
if he
companies
can't
to
make something
deny people
better.
with
So what are we
pre-existing
doing?
conditions. I don't have to tell the people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act, we have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president,
talk about
we have
that's the
capped
only
the
thing
cost
they
of
have to
prescription
say
medication
about
for
is that
seniors at
insulin.
$2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value
How,
I bring to
bro? Oh my God. How?
access
How
to
are you going to drop the
healthcare
prices of
should be
all
a
the
right
of
and
all
not
medicine?
just a privilege of those who
Don't
can
forget
afford
them,
it.
them illegal immigrants. That's what you're talking
Plan
about.
has to be to strengthen the
I'm trying to
Affordable
figure
Care
out how
Act,
she's going to do it.
not get rid of it.
Vice
Pass his
President
prologue
Harris,
in
thank
terms
you.
How
of
is
where
this
Donald Trump
possible?
stands on
Where's
that.
all
I
this
want to
money
move to an
coming from?
issue that's important for a
She
lot
made a
of
mistake. Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get.
President
People
Trump.
are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government
All right.
insurance where you wait
You remember when she
6
said
months for
she's
an
not trying to take
operation
your
that you
guns?
need immediately.
President Trump,
She
thank
said,
you.
this
We have
is a
another
quote,
issue that
let
we'd
us
like to get
finally
to that's
pass an
important for a number
assault
of
weapon
Americans, in
ban
particular
and
younger
universal
voters,
check
and that's
and
climate
red
change.
flag law.
President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to
That
have
is what
clean air
Kamala
and
Harris
clean
said.
water. Vice
The
President
moderators
Harris,
don't want
you
to
call
fact check
climate
her.
change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change? And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of
The
losing
victim of
their
what
home,
that means.
having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic
If she
levels.
invested
We
$1
have
trillion,
created over
why is my
800,000 new
electricity so
manufacturing
freaking
jobs.
high?
While I have been vice president, we have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing
Why
jobs.
are we opening
He
up
lost
factories
manufacturing
around the
jobs.
world instead of
And I'm
America?
also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who
She's
also
opening
know
up
that
factories
part of
around the
building
world.
a clean energy
Are you
economy
kidding me?
includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000
That
manufacturing
didn't happen
jobs
to Donald
this
Trump.
last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building
He
big
said
auto
we're going to build
plants in
factories around the
Mexico,
world.
in many cases owned
How does
by
that help
China.
America?
They're
Tell me.
building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country.
We're going to build
because they will
factories
kill
around the world.
United Auto
Oh my
Workers
God.
and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit
I want
or
to know how
South
she's paying for
Carolina
all
or
these
any
things
other
that
place.
she's talking about.
What they've done to
I'm gonna give my
business
money,
and manufacturing
money.
in this
I'm gonna give
country
plans to get money.
is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back.
Why do they do that thing where they look at each other? They
They
do they
don't like
tell
each
them to
other.
do
They
that
know
in
they
the
really
media?
don't like each other.
But do they tell
Hold
them
on,
to
you
do
know
that?
they don't like each other. I'll be right back.
Do they tell them to do that to like look at each other? We'll be right back. And they look at each other and they look back at the camera. Why they always do that? That's weird as hell. Anyway, let me tell you what Kamala Harris said. She said, I love guns and I don't want to take away your guns. And then after the school shooting in Georgia, she says this. It's a quote, and I quote, it's a fight for something, not against something. I don't even know what the hell that means. Literally, she said that. It's a fight for something, not against something, Harris said. Let us finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. Let us finally pass an assault weapon ban and a universal check and red flag laws. But then she boldly straight up and stands in front of all y'all and says, she is not trying to take away your guns. Are you kidding me? And not once have they said, Kamala, you said this. No, Kamala, give us a yes or no answer. No, Kamala,
that was a Trump bash session. They tried it anyway. He was prepared this time.
Yeah, Trump was they tried a few times. Trump got all the zingers, bro. All the sound bites. He got all the sound bites. He killed her with the excuse me, I'm talking.
But now he killed her with the C-spot run.
Oh, damn, yeah, bro. Yeah, C-spot run, that's another one. Oh my gosh. He got all the sound bites. What Kamala got? What name me one of them. That word salad, it's hard to keep up, bro. Maybe she's getting the right amount of time. Maybe she's not saying nothing, so it feels like it's going on forever. I don't know. They talked about issues that, I don't really think people care about. They don't care about it. And why is it getting so much time? I'm trying to figure that out. I don't get it. This has been I thought it was going to be funny. This has been frustrating. I was, we're going to watch this. We're going to laugh. Nah. Oh my gosh. He has me like yelling. I'm so frustrated that they have not pinned her down to answer a question. What's her policy? My policy is to give you money. This is the 3 things she's going to do. My policy is to give you $6,000 if you have a kid your first year. My policy is to give you $50,000 on tax credit. So you're not really going to get the $50,000. $50,000 on tax credit. Now, I want to know which one of y'all is going to open a business. They're not giving you a $50,000 grant. Don't get it twisted. $50,000 in a tax cut. In tax credits, I mean. That's what you're going to get. What's that mean, Kamala? And then lastly, she's going to give migrants how much? $20,000 to buy a home. First-time homeowners, including those migrants that are coming over. So they want to get a house. On top of their $15,000 they got on entering the country, they're going to get $20,000. I need you to understand that. So we're going to give, who's going to pay for the $20,000 for every single person, migrant, that wants to get their first home? Where's that money coming from? And then what's to stop the developers? Because I would tell you that as a businessman, I would do that. If I know that the government is giving you $20,000 to get a home, I'm going to raise the price of that house $20,000. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What company wouldn't? You'll be a dumbass not to do that. The government is giving away $20,000 guaranteed, and you got to be some type of stupid not to raise that price of that house $20,000. The whole market is going to raise $20,000. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this minimum wage. California went through this, Gavin Newsom. What happened when they brought that minimum wage up? The cost of living went up. You're in the same, bro. It's literally, you're on a treadmill with them, with the Democrats. They put you on a treadmill. You feel You're running, but you're getting nowhere.
Lindsay Davis.
Welcome back tonight. The time has come for closing statements. And Vice President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other
That was
that is
only
focused
talking
on
about
the
his
past.
past. You only talked
And an
about his
attempt
past.
to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us. And we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was the DA, I was an attorney general, United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now.
What I
in
stopped
you.
listening after she said all she wanted to do was
President
focus on
Harris,
the past.
thank
All
you.
she did was
President
talk about
Trump.
his past. 50 years
So
ago,
she just started
he
by
said it's
saying
Central
she's going to
Park.
do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things.
She brought up Central Park.
Anybody that heard about that Central Park
He's been
fire
there
thing
for
was
3.5
against
years.
it. Like, you're not going to
They've
hear
had
that and think that
3.5
it's
years
okay
to
until
fix
you
the
hear how
border.
they did it.
They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughing. I know the leaders very well.
That's
They're
what they
coming to
didn't want
see
to talk
me.
about. You're
They
in the
call me.
office right now.
We're laughed
This is
at
your
all over the world.
administration.
They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals.
You're there
and
now.
they're
Why don't
destroying
you
our
do it?
country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world and from all of us here at ABC News. Good night.
Trucks, I had them broke.
Wow, bro.
You gave them money. Hey.
All right. You want to see them how they spin it? Let's see how they spin it real quick. Because they about to spin this.
Yeah, let me see. Oh, there.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
You're going to be like, Kamala did so good. Wow.
Jonathan Carl here with, of course, Mary Bruce and Rachel Scott. Our reporters across the
Kamala
news division have been updating our live blog, looking at some of the allegations made back and forth, doing fact checks. You can find all of that on abcnews.com. But I would like to replay the moment at the very start of this debate because it was quite a moment. The handshake. And if you look,
It's a good day. Thank you.
I mean, quite a moment. First of all, because we hadn't seen a handshake. We haven't seen a handshake in a long time.
She initiated that one.
And
Yeah, she
I mean,
did
not only did she
immediately.
initiate it, she walked over to him and sought him out, put the hands out.
What the
and also
hell
made
are
the
we
first
talking
call.
about?
Who gives a fuck about a
Had a
handshake?
plan if he hadn't.
Man,
had
did
his
you
hand
see
out.
that
So,
handshake?
so more for
You
the bottom
can't,
line.
man, we're in idiocracy,
think
bro.
Clearly, what Kamala Harris wanted to do was be the candidate of hope, the candidate of the future. Donald
my
Trump seemed
God.
angry within 4 minutes. I think we saw him going from very
Donald Trump
serious at
seems
the beginning,
angry.
never really seemed to look at her, to just angry. I mean, really yelling at some points, trying
Yelling?
to make
I didn't
make
hear
his
Trump
point.
yell
I
once.
don't think we heard a lot of policy and
I
plans
told
on
you,
either
they
side
gonna
of that.
gaslight.
Despite those questions
I
over
told you
and
they
over
gonna
again.
gaslight. I just
But
wanted
what
to
you
hear it
had
real
was
quick.
that optic. You had Kamala Harris looking over,
Trump is
baiting him
angry.
again and again and again. The microphones were muted when they weren't speaking.
No, the
Many
fuck they
times she
weren't.
didn't need a microphone.
Yeah.
You
Her
watched
mic
Donald
was not
Trump
muted.
get mad
Her mic was
and
not muted.
scowl through things. And, you know, John, we were
Are
all
we
talking
serious?
leading up to this about how this would go, what Donald
I
Trump
can't
you would
believe
see.
this, bro.
I think he had a
this is
plan
unbelievable.
for talking about what he saw as the next term. But then he was talking about
Hey.
rumors about
All
people
right,
eating
man.
their neighbors'
Yeah.
pets. So
I
it
mean,
really devolved into that.
I mean,
as well.
look, Kamala
They
Harris
are
didn't
eating their
really
neighbor's
explain
pets.
some of the big questions that were
So the people
out
lying.
there about
So the
why
people
she
over
They
there
just,
lying.
I just got laid out Instagram. They just locked up a
Part of the
late
reason
ass
is
on
Donald
Instagram
Trump
for
really
that.
was
I
not
just
effective
downloaded
in
the
bringing
video.
the debate to her. I agree with you. I think that he looked not just angry, but also rattled. And in contrast,
He looked,
Harris, who,
and
again,
Harris
much of the world
looked
doesn't know,
strong. She looked
Harris
strong and
looked like she
burly.
belonged on the stage, looked like
What's he look
she
like?
is somebody that could serve as
He don't
president.
even know what to say.
And that is certainly how the campaign is feeling tonight. I can tell you, the Harris campaign feels very good. They feel they had a very strong night. But she
Man,
was
get
Okay,
the hell
hold on,
out
hold
of
on.
here.
All right, let's do our gaslighting then. So let's spin their spin. Trump looks angry and aggressive. She looks joyful. Do I want a joyful person in front of Putin?
Hell no. Exactly. I don't want no damn abundant Kim Jong,
Do
whatever
I
his
want
name
this
is,
5-foot woman walking up to Putin saying hi?
smiling and shit. Yeah, y'all vote dummy.
Do I want
Man,
that?
America's dumb in here. Like you said, we live in idiocracy.
Look at
Dumb-ass people in America.
she shook his hand, and he looked
Gives
like
a
he had a
fuck.
scowl. And the way she shook it, she was so confident and happy. What the hell?
Policy shifts, right? And that is what they have been seizing on. They're really trying to define her for voters when voters have a lot of questions about her policy positions. At the same time, though, almost every single thing that Vice President Kamala Harris said tonight got under Trump's skin. And that is exactly what his
Okay.
allies and his
I just wanted to know what their spin was. I just want to know what their spin was. So the whole spin of this, I mean, it's real obvious. They're not really smart people. So the spin is Trump was mad, Kamala was happy, and she got under his skin, and he lost the debate not because of policies, not because of what she said, it's because Trump was angry. He yelled at her. When did he yell? He said, quiet, please. Didn't even raise his voice. Quiet, please.
Yeah, you know America, like, man.
Then he also said, and they also mad because he took her line. I'm speaking. Thank you. He didn't raise his voice. When did he yell? Do they know what a yell is? Yell is what I do. Okay.
Man, leave for here. America done got soft.
Yeah, man.
What they say about the participation trophies, gay?
They gotta be playing, bro. Yo, what y'all think, man? That gaslighting is next level, bro.
That's what I was about to say, man. That got me so heated. That gaslighting.
That is ridiculous. That is
Trump yelled?
completely ridiculous.
Did you see
And
Trump
what's
yell?
sad is no, and we're gonna be hearing that for the rest of until the election. Oh,
Right.
she got under his skin. And the sad thing is, man, I got some people at my church that plan on supporting her, and that's what I'm gonna hear. I told you, Jack, he can't handle her. Oh my God.
I know, bro. I know,
Yeah,
man.
trust me, my auntie and them on my hands about Kamala. I like, look, man.
Yeah.
I ain't voting for that damn lady. Can't tell me who to vote for.
And the sad thing is, some of the ones that I know that's going to support her, they are some of the most intelligent people that I know, but they can't see through lies like that. I'm like, y'all have what's going on with your discernment? You've been in the church all these years, and you ain't got enough discernment to discern something this simple. I mean, this isn't even
you
clever.
spell discernment with a Z, Tice?
I say it wrong. Discernment.
No, I was just
no, I don't spell it with a Z.
I like it. It sounded dope. It was flowing. I was just wondering if you spell it with a Z, that's some gangster shit.
Look at this though. Look at this though. You know why though? Because people's ego is wrapped up in their worldview. So if you destroy their worldview, you destroy their ego. So because of that, and the Democrats know this, and a lot of psychologists know this, as long as you have their worldview wrapped up in the Democratic Party, it doesn't matter who they put there. Their belief is Republicans are bad. They made a non-issue about this abortion because they left it up to the states. And even when a woman doesn't want to can't get an abortion in, say, Alabama, she could go to a state over and get it. But she tried to make it sound like she had to ride on a plane with strangers. When the hell do we not ride on a plane with strangers? How is that a bad thing?
Exactly.
I don't know nobody on that damn plane. I don't know nobody on that damn plane.
Yeah.
Every plane every plane
this
is
what
cheers
all
now. I know everybody's
Tony,
name when I get on that damn plane.
Tony, this is what all Democrats do, because Democrats understand that their voters don't listen to politics, so they could just say whatever the fuck. They could just say whatever they want to say, and their fan base, their followers will believe it. So they say stuff like that, and they're not gonna, Democratic voters aren't gonna fact check it. They can say anything about anything, and they're like, hey, that's true. That's why they say stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the craziest spin. That's why if you only watch ABC, MSNBC, and CNN, and what's so bad about ABC is CNN did a better job in moderating. Literally, you didn't have anybody get mad because they should have tried to help Biden, but that lets you know they wanted Biden to fail. Okay, that right there, because they would have CNN.
Tony, you know me, it's all a script. It's all a script as far as I see it. So yeah, of course they wanted, but it was all written for him to fail. So
yeah, because that's the only way.
Trump is going to be our next president. I'm telling you, it's all set up for Trump. Look, he's going to get elected president, and that's going to be his third term, because this term is his term, and he's telling Biden how to look as bad as he's supposed to look, so he can look good coming in as a cleanup guy. Because everything that we went through, we had to go through. But if we would have went through that under Trump, people wouldn't have supported Trump. But if we go through everything we went through under Biden, then they're going to beg for Trump. When it was 2020, it was too many people that was still like, nah, we support the Democrats and everything. So they had to make Trump look more like the hero.
Do you think every politician is in lockstep?
Yeah, 100%.
So you think they're
no, not 100%, not 100%, not 100%. Let me clarify. Can I clarify real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Have any of you seen the show Blacklist?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, they just describe how there's it's a pyramid scheme. So, I mean, not a scheme, but it's a pyramid. The person at the top of the pyramid calls the shot. Right. No Democrats or Republicans that we know by name, none of them call the shots, but they have their roles given to them. And this Democrat could actually really factually hate this Republican, but each one can only act within the realm of what they're allowed to do. And what they're allowed to do is given to them by the person at the top of the pyramid. It's like watching the WWF when
Right, you're
Vince
talking about
McMahon is
people that
making
run
Triple
behind.
H look like he hates The Rock, but you know,
Got
at
it.
the end of the day, when the show is over, all their kids
You,
play together.
you're talking about the people that run the scenes behind everything, right? That don't show their
Yeah,
face.
that we don't know. The ones that's really giving the script, the
Okay.
one that's
And what
making the
and
script,
what
not the
I'm
ones that's playing their
What I'm
roles.
asking you, though, I'm asking about those people. You think those people are in lockstep?
Look, some of them really hate each other,
No, no, no,
but
no, no,
as
no.
much as they
Don't,
hate each other, look,
wait,
look,
wait,
look.
wait. Don't
Somebody
come
could
me.
look
Don't come on me. Do you think they're in lockstep?
to a certain extent.
So yes.
They're in lockstep with their
So,
orders,
so are they
and their orders could be
are they gods on earth? Are they human
who
or
the
gods?
Dems and the people that
The
we know by
people that
name.
we can't see. No. The people that are running it behind the scenes. Are they gods on earth?
There's only one God, you know.
Okay.
We could consider them demigods.
Okay. I just want to walk you down
Like
this path.
if you want to place labels,
Demigods.
we call them demigods. They have their roles. They're given their, you know, but
All the
there's only one God
demigods
under the
all the
sun.
demigods on earth have been fallen angels. So are the fallen
Yeah,
angels the
you know,
ones?
spirits possessing man.
Whatever you want to call them, are they the ones that are in the lockstep behind? I got to figure out. We got to nail down who you're talking about, because we could always have the Wizard of Oz shit going on. We never get anywhere. I need to know.
Yeah. I hear you. The fallen angels.
Dr. Rothschild
There's
behind the scenes.
there's Rothschilds and what are the other ones? You know, all the Bilderberg families, Rothschilds and Rockefellers, Morgans, and all that stuff. Look, there's family. It's like it's like within your own family. There you can have people who you don't like in your family, and you guys don't get along, and y'all can have separate agendas. But if y'all have a family creed, you have to stick to the family creed. And if you could fuck over the person in your family that you don't like within the realms of your family creed, you're going to find every way that you could do that, but you're not going to go against what the ultimate agenda is.
Let me just switch the question. Do they make mistakes?
Yeah.
Okay. So
they're human ultimately, yes.
That ultimately crumbles the argument. They make mistakes. Okay.
All right.
So with them knowing that they must make mistakes, they cannot perfectly control family members, friends, lovers, and all of the above. That you cannot perfectly control them.
Correct.
Why take out JFK?
Because he didn't go with. Because they didn't go with what the agenda was. The agenda was to keep everything, you know, to keep the Federal Reserve in place, to keep all the secret. And he got in with the they had the understanding that he was going to go with the agenda, and he went against the agenda, and they had to show and prove a point that it doesn't matter how high up you go. You could be the president of the United States. If you go against our agenda, we'll get you in front of everybody. We'll get you in front of the whole world.
Why they assassinate Abraham Lincoln?
Tell him that one more time. Tell him that one more time.
Same thing. Just play back what I just said. We'll get you in front of the whole world to show you there's nowhere that you could go. There's no height that you could get to where you could do your own thing.
We running everything.
Okay. We will make a public display of your ass.
Make a point of.
Excuse my French.
My question to you is, how do you determine which one of them are with them and are not? Because you seem to believe Trump is with them when all the evidence shows that he is not. So
ultimately, I feel like
what evidence does Trump have to be a part of them?
Look, as far as I care to speak is the ones that we can't name, they're all aligned with them. Over here in America, they're all aligned with whatever they say needs to go on. Kamala and Trump both.
I'm asking about Trump. What proof do you have that Trump is with them? Because I could give you proof that he's not.
Okay. The proof that I have is that everything that Trump is aligned with is also everything that Trump is aligned with is also 100% aligned with those who we can't speak of.
Okay, wait. So Trump building factories in America is in alignment with them because they're about globalization.
Not
That's-
100%.
that's a
Not
direct
100% of. I didn't say 100% of what Trump is doing. I'm saying 100%
But
of
Kamala is 100%
whatever
with them.
those who we
Biden is
can't name.
100% with them.
He doesn't go
Obama's
against
100% with them.
anything that they're for. Whatever they're for, he's 100% for it. Whatever they're against, he's 100% against it, and that's my proof.
Since John F. Kennedy, what president can you say? Because you just said it wasn't 100% with them. Can you say wasn't 100% with them?
0% of the presidents.
All right. So if we go down by that logic, if we
Andrew
go by that
Jackson.
logic,
Andrew Jackson.
I said since
That was
JFK.
after JFK.
Oh, well, no, Andrew Jackson before
JFK was before. I said since JFK.
Yeah, he said who after JFK. So I'm saying 0% after that. Because everybody has their own personal thing, but you have to. They try to play the game. They try to get what they actually stand for. But ultimately, they all play the game.
But you just said Trump doesn't, though, right?
No. Well, okay. Look, they all play the game, but Trump is the most aligned with the agenda. He's the most aligned with their agenda out of all the presidents
I don't see how that's
that we've had ever.
They would not publicly display disrespect towards our president.
Just look it up. Just look. Try to fact check it. He's the most aligned with those out of all of the presidents. All of his policies, all of his stances. He's the most aligned out of all of our presidents historically.
Do you understand that?
Nah, he ain't in line with them. That's why they don't want him in office.
Right, exactly. Do you understand?
He is.
Do you understand that? No,
he is. He was talking about Netanyahu, how he needs to sit down with how Kamala wouldn't refuse to sit down with Netanyahu, but he would do it. And he went and did he kissed a little wall. He's aligned with them.
Max, what? Okay, why did he do that? He was trying to get what? What did he ultimately get signed?
I don't know. He got a lot of things signed. He did a lot of good things.
He got a peace treaty signed there. That is directly against what they want. Directly. That is 100% against what they want. They did not have the
peace treaty with. Come on, man. Like they don't care about what's been signed. They're going to do. They commit war crimes. They commit war crimes all the time. They commit war. They don't care about what they're going to do. Whatever they want to do, they'll sign whatever they need to sign to make it look how it needs to look for the public. But they're going to do whatever they want to do. And then Trump will be like, "Well, this needed to happen because of the freedoms of these people." And Trump is going to be the one to make whatever their war crimes are look good.
Hold on, 1 second, Max. 1 second, Max. Because you're confusing me now. We just went and we just said JFK got knocked off because he wasn't following the agenda. Then I asked you what president since JFK hasn't followed the agenda. You admitted Trump is one of those, but then Trump is with them. I don't understand what you're saying.
No. You said which ones aren't 100% aligned. None of them are 100% aligned.
All of them. Obama was. Hillary was.
No,
Biden was.
none of them are. They all have their own agenda, but then they have to bend.
Wait. Let's go down the line.
They all come in with their own agenda, but they all have to bend.
No.
None of them are 100% aligned.
What did Obama do against them?
Huh?
What did Obama do? Any policy, anyone in 8 years against them?
I don't know. Educate me.
There is none. He was with them 100%. That's my point. What about Hillary Clinton? Even when she was secretary
he did a lot. Look, he did a lot of things. Obama did a lot of things for Arab nations, and Arab nations are their enemies. So that's not 100% aligned with them.
No, you're not listening. No, it's not. Him giving Iran a nuclear deal was literally part of it. That is a threat to Israel. That is them playing both sides. He did that.
So then he's not 100% aligned with Israel. Then, if he's making threats,
No, you need a boogeyman. You have to give them weapons. You think they left those weapons over there when Biden ran out of Afghanistan? You think they left it on accident? That wasn't by accident.
I don't believe that was an accident.
Okay,
I hear what you're saying.
He's 100% lockstep. So was Clinton. So was George Bush. So was Biden.
Look, Tony, I don't think they were 100% lockstep, but I hear what you're saying, and like I agree with what you're saying. I just don't think they were all the I think none of the presidents were. They just always had to. They were forced to align eventually. Like they just had to. But you're making a lot of good points. I hear you, man. Like
I got you. I just need one more
keep going.
I like to make
Yeah.
So why in the world, if you know Kamala Harris will be 100% lockstep with you, would you want the person that you don't know would be 100% lockstep with you in office when you can have Kamala?
Can you dumb that down for like a third grader? Because I've been smoking and drinking.
All right, so Kamala Harris will do everything they say. Trump might not. Why in the hell would I choose Trump if I could get Kamala to go with everything I want to do? I need to understand.
But I think Trump will. But my argument is Trump. There is no might not. Trump will 100% do what they want him to do.
We already proved that
he will. He has.
He's already been in office 4 years. We've seen it.
He's made good policies for them.
No, it wasn't for them.
He's done good things for them.
No.
What are you gonna do with them?
Oh my God, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
He's done good things for them before he got in office.
There's a reason why he did gain of function research, bro. There's a reason that gain of function research came out, and they did that to try to make sure he didn't get a second term. He derailed everything they were doing. Clinton was going to come in and continue this. Do you understand? He derailed everything. Why do you think they brought this Russia collusion thing in? Why do you think the FBI agents, Peter Strzok, who admittedly was going against him, trying to get him out, and Lisa Page? It's 100% fact. They were trying to get him out of office. Why would you do all of that?
No, I agree with that. No, I don't think they were trying to get him out of. I don't think they.
Why didn't they do that to? Why didn't they do that to Obama? Right? Why is he not the enemy? Why not make Trump the most beloved president while he destroys us? That's how things work, bro. The people that they call you good in the media have always been the ones that you need to look at. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Fidel Castro. What did the people in Cuba say about Fidel Castro? Because they told us he was the worst man ever in life.
The people in Cuba loved him.
I thought it was the opposite. I thought the people actually loved him.
Okay, but what
the media? It was just the Western media who demonized him.
About him?
Yeah, the media said he was a dictator. That he was terrible.
Media say about Trump?
Because the media loves dictators because they could take over a dictator country. They can't take over democracies. America can't take over a democracy. They could take over. They could take over a dictator by just demonizing the dictators. America loves dictatorships. They love it because that's ours.
But what I'm asking you, because
eventually
these things are always do that because it's easily to understand. So why is Trump demonized and loved
as a dictator?
Why is Trump demonized by who?
The media. We're just talking about the media. And he will go down in history as somebody that was polarizing and hated by the media. And so why?
I feel like what Trump's job is to bring about the fall of the Western democracy by exposing all the evils of it, and the media is part of it. So you demonize the media by having them demonize the good guy. And then when you realize that the good guy is the good guy, you're going to point the finger at the media.
He's not seen as the good guy, though.
Eventually he will. He's more and more. Look, in 2020, he was the devil. But no. But in 2016, he was the devil. In 2016, he was the devil. By 2020, he had a larger fan base. He got more votes in 2020 than he did in 2016. But somehow Biden got more votes than Obama and beat them somehow.
Right.
But look,
So
his following, Trump's following keeps growing. He had a certain following in 2016. It was more in 2020, and it's going to be more now in 2024. And it was all a script written to make him look like the good guy. We had to have this last 4 years because he tried to tell you about from 2016 to 2019. He tried to tell you what was going to happen if the Democrats get control again, and nobody wanted to listen to what he was saying. He kept saying everything that happened. He said this was going to happen, and so nobody, and people still voted for Biden. So we went through. We had to go through what he said we were going to go through for people to actually believe it. Because you know how people, you know how they say people don't believe shit until they smell it. We had to actually go through it and smell it to believe it.
All these points, Max. You're
Sorry, my bad, Tony. My bad, Tony. Yeah,
it was like 12 of them. All right, look.
Sorry. I'll be quiet for the next 20 minutes.
No. You don't got to be quiet. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you. No, my bad. Go ahead.
I'm trying to answer the part where you said
that was a rant. I apologize. Go ahead. I'm listening.
I'm talking about the part where you said that they want Trump in office. I'm highly confused. When have ever else in history have they demonized somebody that they wanted the public to love? Because they did it to Michael Jackson, and it wasn't to get the public to love him. They did it to Kanye West and still do it to him. It's not to get the public to love him. Why Trump is the only one that's different makes no sense to me. They do not change. The devil has no new tricks. So why is it new tricks for Trump?
Well, from 2016, look. From 2016 to 2020, I feel like the Democrats before that, prior to 2016, Democrats they controlled everything. So when he got in, before Trump ran for president, all of us unanimously understood that the worst thing, the most unrighteous thing you could be in life is a politician. And then Trump comes in and runs for president, and he's not a politician. And so the entire system is like Trump is the bad guy, and the entire system that we all previously was like the system is the demon. They got people to believe that Trump is the bad guy, and that's because they control the system. But from 2016 to 2020, all that started to slowly change. And now, from 2016 to 2020, it was a changing of the guards. It was a changing of the guards from 2016 to 2020. There was a lot of CEOs that stepped down. There was a lot of people that got arrested. There was a lot of things to where a lot of people in power don't have that power anymore, and they got replaced. That was a changing of the guards. And so now we're living in the wag the dog era, where they're giving us what they want us to believe.
Lusitania we always had wag the dog, but that's separate.
Well, yes, that's true. That's true. Look,
that's not the question I asked you. The question I asked you was,
okay,
all right, why would they demonize everybody in the public eye to make them hate them, but they'll demonize Trump to make them love him?
My thing,
that don't make no sense.
Look, my answer to that question is we're living through the period of the changing of the guards. The people who are demonizing Trump are the ones that are dying out, but they controlled everything to begin with. So they're trying to fight the person who's changing all of that.
You said that they were doing that. Those people, you're missing it. You said those people want Trump in office. So which one is it? They're fighting him, or they want him in office?
They want him in office. There's two different parties.
They don't want Trump in office.
Look, those people are at the top. Look, those people. Look, I'll make it clear.
Wait, Max. Hold on. So that means they're not in lockstep, right? You said it's two different factions, right? Go ahead.
Yes. No. Well, okay. Okay, those people aren't at the top of those people aren't at the top of the pyramid for the context of this, let's put them at the top of the pyramid. Pre-2016, their agenda was to build up the Democrats in the beast of America to turn us into consumers. So the top of the pyramid was their agenda up until 2016. In 2016, the top of the pyramid said it's time to change the agenda to this is what it's going to be, and Trump is going to be the leader of that new agenda. But the people who are the leaders of the old agenda, they're fighting back, and they don't want to lose their power, but they're losing their power.
Got you. Because I'm not asking to get no gotcha questions. I'm asking to understand. What's it gonna be?
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it too, man. And you can, I'll try to keep the answers as concise as possible and not rant forever. But I made a lot of points. What was the next point that you said you wanted to tackle?
You said they're changing it for it to be something. What's it gonna be though?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a prophet. I'm just going off of like what I've seen with research and study and everything. I don't know. I can't predict the future, but I'm just saying it just seems like we're living in the changing of the guards period, and it's a war between factions.
No, it happened.
Like it's a real war between factions now.
No. I'm not talking about the future. You said 2016. It was a changing of the guard. I said, what is that thing that you're talking about?
Like everything, like how the media controlled everything. And we only knew what the media gave us. You showed us that video of the dude saying we got the information and it's illegal for you. We're the ones that's supposed to, the Chris Comey or whatever. That was the old system, but they're ushering in a new system. You're familiar with like the Denver airport and how they say like we got to bring what is it? Chaos, peace out of chaos. I think order out of chaos.
Yeah.
Order out of chaos, right? So they created the chaos. They created the chaos, and the old system is the chaos.
I'm trying to tell you that they don't.
But the old system is the chaos. We were living in the chaos, and they're trying to usher in their new order of peace, or or order, or whatever. And that's the change. This is the changing of chaos to order. This is the changing from out of order. Out of chaos comes order. We're living in the period of order coming out of chaos. They created the chaos, and now they're presenting the solution.
Max, you're talking about that like it's a new thing. They do that every time, every turning. They do that. It's nothing new.
All I'm saying is that's what we're going through. I'm not saying it's a new thing. I'm saying that's what we're going through right now.
You said it was a new guard. You can't have a new guard with the same people in control.
No, it's a change. I said it's a changing of the guards.
That's what
they're changing the guards. Every time you said it happens all the time. Every time it happens, they have to change the guards from the old guards to the new guards.
It changes after a war, Max.
What are we building up to? What are we building up to? What's going on all over the world? What's going on all over the world?
They trying to entice World War III.
We're building up to
bringing order out of chaos.
Like I said, I'm not a prophet, but can't you feel that we're building up to World War III?
Yeah, Kamala,
everybody feels it. We all know that
they're bringing order out of chaos.
Three different things, though. That makes no sense. They are not congruent. They don't match. Three different things.
They all look, Tony. Everything is congruent. It's all a jigsaw puzzle. If you look at one individual piece and say it's not connected to that one, just because that one is way over there, you're being dismissive. It all connects. It all connects.
Two different factions, right? They got two different factions. Then you just said
there's more than two different factions, but for simplicity's sake, yeah.
We're making it simple because at first you started off the argument where they
were for simplicity's sake, two ultimately, let's just say two.
So now we understand that they're not locked up, right? Okay, so they're not locked up. So that means everything they're doing is running in perfect harmony. That means there's going to be dissenters. There's going to be other people with their agendas that want to go in there and take control. Constantly. There's always people jockeying for position. Okay. Trump is one of those people that put a wrench in their plans. Yeah. They're not trying to make
yes.
Okay.
I agree.
So why would they want the person that put a wrench in their plan to be president over the person that will execute their plan?
No, my bad. I'm sorry. I meant I thought you meant the wrench in the plan of the old guard. Not the top of the pyramid. The top, they put a wrench in the plan of the top of the pyramid. Just
All
the
right, who
old
is the
guard.
new guard?
And
Who
the
is
old
the new
guard is fighting
guard?
back.
That's why I was
Who is the
asking
new
you.
guard? Yeah, who is the new guard?
Trump,
Hey,
Trump, and whoever is following Trump. Whoever is aligned with Trump. He's the center of he's the leader of the new guard.
Thank you. So Trump is
I don't know how to break down the factions, but he's the leader.
Exactly. Yes, we're there. That's what we're talking about.
So he ain't with him, he against
I'm
him.
glad we agree on something, Tony, because I don't feel like I disagree with you, Tony. I don't feel like we disagree.
No.
I feel like maybe we're approaching things from different angles and perspective, but I feel like we're saying the same thing. I feel like we're seeing things how it is.
What started this is you said they want.
They don't want Trump in office.
You said they want Trump in office. That's how you
Who they
started.
talking?
Yes, I feel like they want Trump in office. Yes,
we're trying to say
is that something
Tony.
you agree with or disagree with?
And I was asking you who they was, and you said they're all in lockstep, meaning it
Top
was
of the,
one
let's just say the top of the pyramid. Let's just call they the top of the pyramid.
No, they don't want Trump in office.
You just told me the top of the pyramid was against him. That's why I said I agree. And you said the new guard is Trump. So which one?
No. The top of the pyramid is not against Trump. The top of the pyramid. What I'm saying is the top of the pyramid is they.
Let me say this, man. How the hell the top of the pyramid is against Trump and he the only one got banned? Have you ever heard of another president getting banned from London? The man got banned from over there.
No, the top of the pyramid is in London.
The Rothschilds is the Rothschilds is the top of the pyramid. What are you talking about?
What are the Rothschilds? What are the Rothschilds? What are their bloodline? What is their bloodline? What lineage? What ethnicity is the Rothschilds' bloodline? What is their ethnicity?
You know they fake. They ain't real. They fake. We know what they fake are.
We understand.
But that's the top of the pyramid. The Rothschilds could own London, but that's not where their loyalty is not in London. Their loyalty is to their bloodline.
No, listen what I'm saying. Did you hear what Goon old school said? Oh yeah, go ahead, Will.
What they say,
go ahead.
I didn't see it.
I'm gonna let Will talk. Will.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say this entire time, I kind of look at it like WWE. That's why I always keep saying Vince McMahon for president. Because if you just kind of look at how
Vince McMahon is there.
America is a business, if you look back at the WWE, Vince McMahon used to do this type of stuff all the time. Vince McMahon, they're called heels in wrestling. They'll send somebody out there that gets the complete hatred of the crowd. But it's for the bigger purpose of it's the draw. It's the draw. You're getting stuff in here. You got your good guys, you got your bad guys, but everybody still works for the company.
I'm gonna ask you the same thing then, Will. Are they all in lockstep or not? I just because
in my opinion,
both of y'all arguments are based on the fact that they have to be in lockstep. If not, it doesn't work. The argument falls apart. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. Then you hear what Gooner
Is
them
it
said
two factions?
about the
Is it a bunch of
Rothschild.
factions? Is it one of them all together ushering this in? I'm trying to figure out so I could understand where y'all coming from with it. Because I understand that they stage things. They've been staging things from the beginning. That's why I said the devils have no new trick. The devil has no new trick. It does it over and over and over again because it's effective. It works. The same way they just gaslighted the hell out of us, said Trump was yelling. We didn't see him yell once. The media has control over you.
Yeah.
I also want to bring up when she said that Trump would have been weak, or like he was like, oh, he would have quit in the war and would have been weak. That I was perturbed because I was like, when he was in there, literally, two of our biggest threats, he went there, and it became nothing. Pandemic happens, and he finds out that it's coming from Wuhan, and they brought it over here, and that starts the pandemic. And then everybody that gets laid off because they're doing all that, they get higher unemployment, and then we get a stimulus check.
But you know what's still not talked about? It's the transition. It's the transition. We went from LIBOR to SOFR, LIBOR to SOFR. Okay. That is a transition that goes unspoken of throughout and I mean everywhere. I don't think anybody really talks about it, but in finance,
I don't know nothing of it.
That's why they ushered
What is it?
All right, it was a whole
What
new
is it?
system. It was a whole new system, a whole new financial system that was brought in during that time of 2020. It was the biggest wealth transfer in history.
Wow.
All right, they had to stop the economy to usher it in. It's like flying a plane and trying to change the engine. You couldn't do it. You got to land a plane first. So what did they use? They had to use an orchestrated thing. People were I don't even know we really could too much talk about it here, but I would say this. Remember when people were typing in 1,000 people deleted from that thing, 55 people deleted from it. They had an article ready for any number that you typed in. Do you not remember that?
No, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that was set up to stop the dissenting person, which was Trump, which was stopping their agenda. And not only that, they wanted to bring in this new financial system that changed the way interest rates worked. It used to come from London and no longer comes from London. All right. All of this happened after they created the League of Nations after World War I.
Yeah.
They completely changed that in the first time in history without a war. They used a sickness. So that what you're saying is right. Like I'm trying to tell you that you are throwing some truth in there. I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong.
Tony, I'm telling you, I feel like we agree. I don't think we're disagreeing on things. I think we're seeing things from different perspectives. I would love if you would put clarifications on the discourse, like put articles or videos that could cite what you're, so you could clarify, because maybe I'm wrong on a lot of things. And you could just put the info on Discord, and we could talk about it. I could research more, talk about it and everything. Okay. But I don't want to sit up here and just disagree with you all day. Just real quick, I wanted to say
is the fact that Trump is a dissenter.
Go ahead.
That's the only thing we disagree on. If they're in lockstep, and if Trump,
so look, I'd rather do more research and discuss that another day, because I feel like there's a lot of things that we could agree on that came out of that debate. And one of the things to me is one of the top 3 most gangster quotes I've ever heard in my life came out of that debate. Like I had to play that shit back, and was like, that was some gangster. Like when Trump was like, yeah, and Abdul wouldn't have done that with me. I told him, I sent him a picture of his house, and Abdul was like, why is that a picture of my house? Abdul, you're going to have to figure that out.
I was talking about, I said, damn, you heard me say? You showed him a picture of his damn house. I said, boy, trying to blow your motherfucking ass up,
why are you sending me a picture of my house?
What about C Spot Run or Run Spot Run? What about that one? That was hard too, bro.
No, look, funny. No, all that he said funny quotables. He had quotables like funny.
You running?
Yeah, he said, bro, you could do a whole 15-minute video, Tony, and I'm 100% certain you will, of all of the funny things that Trump said and that thing. But the most top 3 most gangster things was figure that out. You gonna have to figure it out.
You gotta figure that out. Why I got a picture of your house?
I ain't gonna lie, bro.
You top that.
I want to ask
somebody top that right now. Somebody top that right now with something.
What? That gaslighting
more gangster that you've heard. I couldn't think of anything.
Right?
What? Hey, you right on that.
Bro, that's somebody you want to be your president. If I didn't know anything else about any of the candidates, if that was my first time seeing either of them, I would have voted for Trump just off of that. That's who I want running my country. Somebody who's going to say something like that. I don't care about any of his other policies. We'll figure it out as along the way.
What I'm asking you is this.
Yeah.
How are they spinning they're trying to spin his strength as a weakness. He seemed mad. Should we be happy right now?
Everybody's weakness is a strength, bro. They just trying to play with people's heads.
They trying to put a plant that in their head. Exactly.
Look,
he didn't look happy. Plus, he's a candidate of joy. When we got people out here really starving, we got people losing their houses to illegal immigrants. We got kids over there getting GTA Grand Theft Auto'd on a school bus with migrants trying to take the bus with guns while they riding on the school bus. And you're going to sit here and tell me that we should be here smiling and be the
Dude.
candidate of joy?
But that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to sell you joy.
Forget that.
She wants you to be happy with the situation that you're in right now.
I want the dude that's sending out threats. Sending out threats that you gonna write down for your enemies. You be like, yeah, I'm gonna have to tell somebody this shit next time they say something to me.
What he say to Kamala? He said we cut the money off because they were talking about going to war.
Thank you.
Cut them off. They changed their whole tune.
I had them both. I kept them both.
I remember when he said that. I remember when Trump
Isn't that?
He said, "Yo, why do we keep on putting the bill for UN when we got 28 other countries in this thing not doing anything?" And as soon as he did that, they started paying money.
Hey Max, tell him how they should have brought up how he should have brought up January 6th.
I mean, everything he said, everything that he said is what you would want from a president. If it wasn't for Dr. King K, he would have my vote. But all of what he said, it's like that's who you want representing you as a country. Like if you seen the movie Troy, if he was the king over Troy, he wouldn't even woke Achilles up. He would have slashed that dude's neck himself and said, "Who's next?"
You're right.
You feel me? I want that person leading my country. We'll figure his politics out along the way.
Maybe they're right. If it was during a time of happiness, maybe we don't want this brooding guy in office, as they try to put it. All right, but the fact
that's just it.
I'll be right back, y'all. I'll be right back.
Okay. What'd you say,
Tyson? I was gonna say that's just it. They want you.
Go ahead, Tyson.
Well, they want you happy right now. That's it. So you won't want something like Trump in office. It reminds me, like a few years back, there was a game that was released, and the story plot took place in like a dystopian London, England. It was called We Happy Few, and it was about people who was literally living in they was living in ruins, but they didn't realize it because everybody was required to take a pill called joy, and whenever they took it, everything looked normal. They didn't realize they was living in.
Hey, what movie? I saw a part of that. What was that?
It's a game. It's a game called We Happy Few.
Wow.
I ain't never played that.
Yeah, I saw a clip about that.
Check it out.
There's a movie like that. It got to be because I saw something like that.
Yeah, that concept is new. I mean, isn't new. So that's the same thing. They were like, "Are you not entertained?" You understand? What they want to do is they want to fill your time with entertainment. But they're realizing entertainment at this time right now isn't doing the same as it did back in the day. They're not getting as many people to watch sport. But they're not getting as many men to watch sporting events anymore, right? They're not getting as many people to go to movie theaters anymore. It's not as
Why
many
do you
people
think that is?
going to clubs anymore.
Everything's so goddamn high.
Well, that's a part of it, but like I told
that
you,
ain't even the problem. The problem is the culture.
The culture is gone, bro. We don't have an identity anymore. So why would I go to a club when I might meet people that don't have anything in common or agree with me? We are highly polarized right now, right? They got people that are saying that if I find out he's a Republican, I won't date him, right? Yep. They say that right now. They got family members that will kick you out of the house and won't talk to you because you said you voted for Trump.
If I find someone who's a Democrat, I won't date them. What does that make me? I won't date a Democrat or a liberal. I just won't even put myself there. I don't hate them or anything.
That's like a white dad trying to tell his daughter don't date no black people because all of them like that. You can't say that.
No, it's just my own personal preference. I wouldn't put that off on nobody else.
Somebody different.
No, that's different, Kat, because one is skin color, the one is about belief system. So
and then the one is about putting it off on somebody else. I wouldn't put it off on somebody else.
They just going with it because they've heard a few things.
They're not just going with it, bro. They will fight. Okay, so why is family members?
I'm not talking about all of them. I'm talking about some of them. There's some of them out there that are just going with it because they're people of that. Kind of like being a Falcon fan.
Dr. King K, can I ask you a question?
Okay, why would you? Okay, let me ask you this real quick, and then Max, you can ask him. Why, if I am a Muslim, right, and you are Jewish, right? And we're living in Israel. Okay. Why would I marry you in this time period?
See, the thing about
I'ma
it
just
is,
pause that
you
for
got
you.
look, you know what? There's a bunch. I bet you there's a few Romeo and Juliets running around out there right now.
I know. Answer the question. Don't. I'm
That's
about
what
to
I'm
make that.
telling
I'm
you,
about to
bro.
make
You
that an
gotta,
herb. Don't Kamala me, man.
man. Look,
I want to know. I want to know the
nah,
answer
but
to
look,
that
no.
question, bro. You just said it was Romeo and Juliet's. I don't want to know about Romeo and Juliet.
That's them.
Tony, wait, Tony, did you say look, Tony, did you wait real quick? Who's the Muslim and who's the Muslim, Tony? In this scenario,
I'm a Muslim man and sees a Jewish woman. Why?
That's who K is.
Have to go with the
not K.
religious belief.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm asking in that situation.
Oh, he was using that as an example.
I thought he was using K in the example. My bad.
Because
I ain't no. I'm not Jew or Muslim.
I get it.
I don't think Tony is either. I thought he was making a scenario for y'all. I was just trying to.
I am, but not on their terms. But I am.
I get what you're saying. But what I'm saying
is, I hear what you're saying, Kay. On that level, I hear what you're saying.
Why would you get with them with a whole different belief system than you?
The thing about it, like I just said,
even
bro,
if they grew up that way and they don't.
Do you know how many people grow up in the household and follow what their families doing, not knowing none of the shit they just doing?
And they don't have, and that's not a hang up on their life. They don't.
Yeah,
they don't.
And then they meet somebody.
Okay, so why? So is nothing wrong with Max not marrying that person because that person is going to continue to have that program.
The thing is, you're not going to marry somebody till you build with them. So once you get in there, you give them an opportunity. You got to give everyone an opportunity to show you themselves.
Hey, you don't have to give everybody opportunity. That's not how life works, bro.
Man, you don't have to give nobody opportunity to do nothing. But if you are intrigued by someone, you have to give them an opportunity to know for real. If you intrigued, what the hell? Why you not? You just gonna be like, oh, you do this, so I can't. That's small minded as hell.
How's that small minded, bro? Look, I'm gonna tell you like Muhammad Ali said.
You don't go against your beliefs behind nothing.
Listen to some wise words from Muhammad Ali. The bluebirds fly with the bluebirds, the pigeons with the pigeons, the geese with the geese. They're animals. They smart enough to know what to do. We can't figure it out.
All I'm saying is, no, look, I'm not speaking on general. I'm not speaking on brand. I'm not speaking on the majority. I'm speaking on the minority, the ones that are there.
That's what I was telling Bug. Let's stop doing that.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not. I know that I'm doing that.
It does nothing for us. Why are we bringing up the minority? I don't care about one person
like
in Israel that got with a Muslim.
You say what? You care about one person who is real.
One person in Israel got with one Muslim. Who cares, bro?
You tell me they don't realize their
does that impact society? Does that impact our society? That one person.
Hell no.
Oh, come on.
They probably would switch over.
So don't talk about it.
They really undecided. They just follow their family.
They don't, bro. If Max, there's nothing wrong with Max. Not look. Don't date outside your ideology. That's a one-way street. That's a one-way street to divorce.
Don't do that.
You're going to divorce. I'm just telling you right now.
No, you're right. You're right.
What are we arguing for then?
Huh? We not.
What are we arguing about?
You're not.
You just said it was small-minded. Now we're not arguing, bro.
Small-minded to think that you can't just because that motherfucker says that they're liberal.
So let's get divorced.
No, you wouldn't get married to begin with.
What the hell, Kay?
So would you ever use like meeting somebody, meeting people as
you have to give everyone an opportunity to show you who they really are.
If you know you're gonna get divorced, why?
Hey, Kay, I swear to God, you be saying exactly what's in my brain. Okay, all the time. You let them show you who they are. You let them do that, and then you believe them.
Everybody, if you feel like I might rock with this person, you have to at that point because you have to give them an opportunity to show them themselves.
That's so
you
so
can't.
You
that's prejudging.
So
We ain't to judge, jury, and execution. You protect yourself, but you don't judge. You don't preach.
No. You know what separates humans from animals? We prejudge. So no, I would never not prejudge anything.
No, you prejudge everything, but you don't.
You just told us not to.
You prejudge, but
you shouldn't, man. You shouldn't prejudge. You shouldn't prejudge.
Look, you prejudge. You gotta prejudge, but you don't be judgmental.
Analyze the situation. Don't prejudge.
I'm hearing one thing,
Don't
and then
prejudge.
Listen, bro.
and then they say another
You
thing, and
can
I say I didn't say
prejudge.
that, but I did say
Prejudging is
that.
a
Don't prejudge, Kay.
You just said
when
don't
you go to
prejudge.
when you go
Analyze.
to judgmental, when you go to judgmental, that means you have taken the judgment that you pre-did and put it on your mental as that being fact.
You just
That's
told
what
me
you
to
don't do.
prejudge. You just
Yeah,
said
but
not.
like once you but judging, saying you judge, you made a ruling on who this person is. Just
That's
analyze
off
the
an
person thing,
algorithm.
but don't judge them until after you interact. Like don't make a ruling.
You prejudge. No, you prejudge the hell out of everybody because
Oh man, just analyze what you see
Analyze who you
and go
around.
forward.
You don't be
Okay,
judgmental.
hold on.
You don't
Max,
stick it on your brain as that's who that
I hear
is.
you, Tony.
Max and K, I just want to know. A woman comes up to you from, let's say, New Hampshire. She has pink hair. She went to an Ivy League school. She believes in climate change. Okay. She believes that your kid could change and transition whenever they want to. Okay. And she also believes that they are empowered to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. Are you going to marry her, Kay?
That's after you learn her
That's all
beliefs.
you get to go off of?
You feel me? You not finna go off of no, but you don't go off against your beliefs.
That's all you get to go off of, Tony?
I still wouldn't do that. Like her beliefs.
What's her bra
Based off of
size?
what you just said, that
How long does she
would
last? Like,
automatically
what is
assume
her
you got to know her
favorite?
before you married her.
I was over here
Huh?
defending you. You just told me that you wouldn't date a liberal. Now you're saying, what's her bra size?
What's her bra size?
Well, I'm just saying because you're giving us very little to go off of, and you're saying would you marry this shit? Like you gave us very little to go off of.
No,
As
Max. It was
marriage is a
enough 'cause
very
Max, what he described, you would only be able to know if you got to know her.
Exactly.
He would have to have told
Prejudging
you
and
that.
judgmental.
no, he didn't. He said she has
Make a
pink
decision.
hair, and you can find all that out on the first
hair. I
date.
said pink
Will,
hair, yeah.
Will, you know how I am. I'm gonna find all
That
that out
part.
on just the first
That
meet
part.
talking to the female.
That's
You know how I am.
Oh yeah, you
Am
don't
I
have to
lying?
know. I don't have to intimately know her. Y'all said I have to date her because I'm small-minded. That makes no sense.
You brought up marriage. Like I'm saying,
No,
like give us more
it's
to
not
go off
small-minded.
of if you're talking about marriage. Come on, man.
Bro, you wait,
Give
Max.
us just a little more. What's a race? What's a race?
Max just told
Did she
me
have both of
that
her
I would not
parents?
date a liberal. Did he not?
Does she have childhood issues?
And then Kay said, "No, you can't do that. It's like not dating a white person and a black person." And I was like, "Hold on, now. There's difference between skin color and ideology. Is that not how this thing started? Now Max somehow just got on Kay's side, and I'm stuck over here not defending Max anymore. I'm like, what the hell? I'm getting gaslighted tonight. What the hell's going on?
My bad, Tony. I didn't mean to jump ship on you like that.
Hey, Tony, you getting gaslit.
And then Kay told me that you don't prejudge. And they said, I didn't say that. I said, you should prejudge. What the hell is going on?
I'm just trying to be honest how I feel. I'll be on. That's why I can't fit into groups because I don't align with the whole group. I feel how I personally feel, and I don't align with any one group. I'm gonna have one foot in both lanes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, on both sides.
I just understand how people are.
I don't know what the hell happened. I thought I was defending Max.
I feel like
Hey, I appreciate the defense. So, look, Kay, look, I'm gonna just say this, Kay, listen to Tony because he was right in what he was saying in my defense. So, you know,
he wasn't damn right.
What he was saying, he got damn right. What he was saying in my defense, just listen to that a little more, and you're gonna be all right.
Y'all crazy, man. I'm letting
Nah,
y'all
bro,
have
I already know,
it.
man. I be trolling Tony sometime, man. That's my cut.
Hey, that is part of the problem, though. Real talk. People do just judge off of, hey, you're a Republican. I don't want to talk to you, right? You're a Democrat. I don't want to talk to you.
Who the hell? I ain't never seen. Well, you might do that.
Man, people do that a lot. What you mean?
We don't even. Well, hell, that'll be the last thing come up on our damn mind for politics.
But see, the funny thing about that is,
when people decide to
that's
do
part
stuff
of our
like that,
problem
you're
too.
denying yourself
We
an
don't talk about
opportunity
enough stuff
to
like
learn.
that. We talk about who Sexy Red had a baby with. Was it Drake or was it Kendrick Lamar cousin?
Drake, baby. No,
Yeah.
I just feel like you sell yourself short.
Someone said that's Drake, baby.
Everybody know that.
Yeah, I just feel like you should sell yourself short from experiences and getting to know things you wouldn't normally
experience
know
a divorce.
by
That's what
talking.
you're going to
You know what I'm
experience.
saying?
Every
Like,
experience
when
ain't a
you
good
meet somebody
experience. I
new,
hear people say that, but they never talk about what the experience is. What experience
it
am I
doesn't
missing
matter.
out
An
on?
experience,
I'll miss out.
you can
Hey, I'll
take an
miss out on
experience
bad
and get what you
experiences
want
every
from
10
it.
times out of 10. I'll tell you that right now. Am I wrong? Do you want to miss out on bad experiences?
I mean, maybe not. Maybe you want them, and it helps in the long run. You don't know the big picture.
All right, let
You
me tell
can't
you.
see the big picture
Let me tell
until
y'all
it's all
a big
said and
secret.
done.
Let me tell y'all a big secret in life. Learn from everybody else's mistake. You don't got to make it.
Yep.
Hey man, it ain't nothing like touching fire your own goddamn self and feeling how hot it is.
I'd rather not know what fire feel like. I don't need to touch fire to know that it's hot.
Hey, but what don't kill you make you stronger. I'm telling you, man. When you find out for yourself and you survive, it's a whole different thing.
Sometimes it does kill you though. So that's
Hey, but I'm saying the things that don't, it's a whole different experience when you actually could speak on being through it.
Listen, man. I ain't gotta go through it. Listen, man. I done learned a lot of experiences.
Bug, you done been through it. Bug, you done been through it.
I
Don't
done
act
been
like you
through
ain't.
it. But what I'm
And
saying
that done
is,
made you a whole different dude than if you didn't. You
but
done learned
I'm
a whole
saying,
lot more
I wish
things.
I wouldn't have had to go
I'd
through
rather
it.
not be divorced. I'd rather not be divorced.
Then you be some bozo goofy that's making mistakes in his old age because you didn't make them when you was young.
No. What I'm saying, like, not like that.
Nobody,
What I'm saying,
Helena, nobody,
the
Helena,
lessons,
nobody wants a
like
bad experience, but
the
if you
lessons I
wouldn't know it would be
learned.
bad unless you went through it.
Yeah,
No, what I'm saying, a lot of lessons I learned, the people ain't here no more. That's why I say I wish I wouldn't have had to go through
I
it.
hear what I hear you,
called?
bud.
You know what
Yeah,
it's called?
I hear you. I hear you on that.
It's called coping. Once I go through the bad experience, I have to take the positive out of it. Or I will
It makes
crush
you stronger.
myself. No, it doesn't,
It
bro.
makes you stronger.
No, I
It
have
does.
to
It
do
makes
that,
you.
or I will
Well, for
crush
some people,
myself.
look, some people it does, some people it don't. Some people it does, some people it don't. I hear what you're saying, Bug, though, as far as like if you could not
Like,
have
I'm gonna give you
experienced that, if you
a
could have
street.
saved some lives,
Yeah,
I hear you.
I'm gonna give you a street lesson I learned. I don't let nobody sit behind me. I don't know. That's a
I
lesson
feel
I
you.
learned. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
If I don't know you, can't sit behind me, dog. I don't know you. I don't let
Hey,
nobody sit behind
and
me.
you
I
had
tell
to,
you,
and,
and a
and,
cousin and a
you had
brother
to
do not
learn
like
that.
that.
That's all I'm saying.
No, Boog don't go to the movie theaters.
No, I ain't talking about. I'm talking about in
No,
the
you
car.
just sit in the back.
I'm talking about like in the back
He sit
seat
in
of
the
my
back.
car.
He sit right where the projector is. He sit
I'm
right.
saying
If he put his
my
hand
brother.
up, you not
No,
gonna see
what
the
I'm saying,
movie.
my brother and my cousin
didn't
got
mess with
killed
you.
like that. Both of
I
them got
didn't mess.
killed like that.
Delete
But
it.
yeah,
Delete it. Delete it.
deleted
Yeah, no,
like
I
that.
hear
Yeah, they
you,
both
bud.
got deleted
So,
like that. So I don't let people in my
you know, I
car.
hear what you're saying, man. I wasn't even thinking about it like
Listen,
that. I hear you.
I went and sold a car one time. That nigga jumped in the back. I said, "Now hell, I told my partner, boy, get out the front seat. Let him get up here. Know him? Let him get up.
Yeah.
You know I just messing with you. I know
Yeah, I
that.
know.
Yeah.
Oh no, I go to the movie. Man, I be laid up. I be up, man. My head be on her shoulders.
Yeah.
We
That's
about
the chill, yeah.
we about to hit the 3-hour mark, so we about to go ahead and wrap it up. We definitely have gonna have some more discussions on the Discord. Anybody that's watching, check us out on the Discord.
Yeah, y'all gonna join our Discord, man. Put the link in the chat, Tony.
I'll put that link in the chat, and but yeah, we definitely appreciate that. That gaslighting at the end was crazy.
Yeah, they did my boy Trump. They tried my boy.
Yeah, we all just gonna stay mad out here. We stay mad because I mean, God, bro,
I'm still pissed off.
I never been
How
mad
the
at
hell
a
the
debate
moderator cut off the goddamn debater
Yeah.
multiple times? I be
and
like, Mr. Trump, that's we got a lot to get to. What the fuck else do you have to get to? This is the debate.
Oh no, they had. You know what they had to get to? They had to get to January 6th. And why did you? What did you think about the election? Did you win or not? And they stayed on that for 20, 25 minutes. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Will wanted me to say earlier because during the 2020 election, the insurrection happened when they were going to certify the Arizona results. And do you recall they were like recertifying Arizona for like 3, 4, 5 months straight? They were recounting, and they were going to present they were going to present their results right then and there. Building up to that, they were saying we found all type of fraud, all type of fraud, all type of fraud. We can't wait to the 6th. We can't wait. And then right when they were going to present the thing, that's when the insurrection happened. And then when they came back, they were like, "Look, we're just going to certify everything. We just gonna certify everything because of what happened." So I'm like, that wasn't Trump's doing. Like that, Trump. That was them making
Nancy
sure
Pelosi-
evidence
Nancy
wasn't
Pelosi
presented.
I'm gonna tell you this: Nancy Pelosi planned that out. They will never talk about. They will never talk about how she reduced the security. She told them to let them in. She made that an optics for them to try to run on for next time. That's all that was. And then the news, it was such a nothing burger, but the news kept on telling everybody, and people that never saw it to this day, I know them personally, they still talk about Jan 6, because the news kept on saying Jan 6. That's how it works. They don't know nothing about what happened. They don't know. They didn't see people. They didn't know people walked in. They think people like broke in through windows and was knocking down police and had weapons. I was like, bro, these people didn't even have weapons. They so-called planned a coup without weapons. You're telling me these people who have militias and they go hunting hogs and all this other stuff, and you telling me they didn't have no weapons, but they planned the coup?
So I seen the video that Trump mentioned. I seen it, and Nancy Pelosi, she was in the car with her daughter, and she was literally saying, "I will go down for this." Because I guess she thought that they was because it didn't go according to plan. It happened, but it didn't go according to plan.
Yeah, somebody got deleted.
Somebody stole her laptop.
The video
Somebody
did
stole
not
her
get
laptop.
deleted,
Remember
actually.
that?
His daughter her daughter had the video, and somehow it got leaked. I'm not sure how it got leaked, but I saw it.
The daughter said that that Nancy was gonna go down for this.
Yeah. Well, Nancy said it.
You remember that
out of her
day
own
Nancy
mouth.
got her laptop stolen.
I didn't know that.
She got her laptop stolen during the insurrection.
Wow, bro.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, dang.
So, look, I'm gonna tell you this, man. That whole thing, the whole Jan 6, the way they was able to spin that to make everybody believe, because they know people don't look. Even in this age of information, people don't. It's like they live. All you have to do is put on something as easy as glasses. You have it in your hand. Just type in Jan 6 video. They will never do it. They don't do it.
No.
They don't want to see it themselves. All right. And then
Well,
that goes
that's
back
what
to
you were saying about their worldview.
Laptop.
Worldview, yeah, exactly. They can't destroy their worldview. If Trump is bad, he has to be. She just said it again during the thing. Oh, Trump said it's good people on both sides. But then you fix your lips to say at the first sentence you said at your ending statements was Trump is stuck in the past. I'm trying to be the future. All you did was talk about his past 40 years ago. Oh, he had a company. He didn't let black people in during a time when black people were highly discriminated against, right? Only Trump was the only one in America that didn't let black people in. It, wasn't Trump.
Man, Joe Biden was hanging with the KKK. He wrote the damn fucked up crime bill.
Right.
I don't want to hear that shit.
But my thing is, you said you're about the future, and all you did was talk about this man's past, and it's ridiculous. See, never answer her questions. What are you going to do about Kamala? Well, Trump.
Yeah, that was my next question. Was did anybody hear anything about her doing what she said? Like any plan about how she was going to do?
Her plan was about the plan. She had plans to make
actually say,
the plan is the plan is
we're going to
the plan is this and the plan is that.
We're going to lower taxes. How?
Yeah, that's
the
all the
plan. The plan was for us to remember that she comes from a working class family that's and Indian, and somehow she's a black woman.
And she completely ignored that question. What about what about you, Kamala? Well, we know he has the same old tired rhetoric since he's been president and all the other times.
Completely ignored it.
Right. Are you black, Kamala? Will you say it now? It's so ridiculous. Like,
I just couldn't get over how Trump was debating the moderator as well. Like, why is this a 2v1?
It was 3v1.
It didn't make no sense.
The female and the male. I was like, bro. Like, and they were trying to fact check him. They didn't fact check Kamala.
Yeah, that part right there. Like, why are you fact checking him as a moderator? Like, what?
Right.
That's not your role. Why is he debating you now? Debating your facts with his facts. Like, what is this about? I've never seen that before.
Hey, he got rid of him though. He told him you could leave. Moderator gone.
Gone.
On that note, man, yeah, we about to get up out of here. We appreciate all y'all.
Yeah, it's been an educational day, man.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. We'll see
I
y'all.
love the fact that my melanated brethren and sisterin can sit down and congregate and speak in a manner that has sense, not like the bullshit that we hear in this hip hop community, but a community of entrepreneurs and academic scholars.
All right, President K. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
We out of here, guys. Peace.
Y'all
All righty.